Ladies and gents, welcome back. It's another live stream. Another Friday is come along. Wow, this whole week has seemed so fast, but that's because I did take Monday off. I think people noticed that. There was not a lot of videos earlier this week because I was still camping. I went camping last weekend. We had a great time. Sometimes you just gotta step away from work and get some other things done. Go hang out with family, go do fun stuff, go cook some meat on real fire and do all that stuff. It's a lot of fun. But hey, welcome back everybody. If you're new to the channel, this is the live show. We do this every Friday evening. And it's my way of giving back to the community. You guys are so good to me that I love to give things back. And everybody that wants to hang out, and let's bring the chat on in here. Come on in. This is my time to hang out with you guys and spend a bit of time and get into some of the more of the nuance of the stories that I do. If you're new to the channel entirely, I do videos every single weekday morning talking about Canadian issues, sometimes world issues, sometimes American issues. It all jumps in there, but talk about the issues that matter to me on the day. And give my opinion on it and, share a little bit of the information that's out there that seems like a lot of people either have trouble navigating or just, don't have the time to dig and find the stories, find what's actually happening in the news. As the media likes to spin things for you, I like to unravel the spin and give people a real estimate of what's really actually going on. It all started with the Freedom Convoy last year when the media was obviously spinning that one. And, I've just been going ever since, just nonstop, every Monday through Friday mornings, except this week with the camping. But yeah, every Monday through Friday mornings. And then on Fridays, we do this live stream. And then I like to, obviously, but not obviously, but I like to as well as bring guests in to come and have a chat with the community here as well. And tonight, excited to bring you none other than the infamous Vesper D, which is going to be awesome. He's made a real name for himself on Twitter with his animus against the current Prime Minister of Canada. It's straight up. He says it himself. It's a vendetta. It's you did a lot of damage to our lives, and he's taken upon himself to make sure that he does his best to do his part in making sure that man is not prime minister for very much longer in the country. So we'll talk about how he takes some of those skills to the table to do that, and we're gonna have him in about an hour because we're gonna cover some stuff. We're gonna go over some of the stories that are happening this week. And chat with everybody and get stuff going. Hey, before we get going on any of this stuff, let me know in the comments in the comment section here, where did you get your information about this stream? Are you new to the channel? Are you not new to the channel? Did you get your notification from YouTube? Did you see me on Twitter? Did you see it on Discord? Let me know where these notifications are coming from, where people are getting notified for these live streams. It helps me to navigate and put more energy into the places where the information is getting out there more. So it's always helpful when you guys, YouTube front page, that's special. That's something else. Amazing. Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that information with me. It definitely helps me do that. Another thing that helps the channel a ton is just hitting that like button. I know it doesn't seem like a lot. A lot of people are saying, give me money, give me this, give me that. I'm just saying, hit that like button. If you hit that like button, what it does is the algorithm, it sounds like such a mysterious thing, algorithm. It's just basically a data set that says, hey, you like this thing, and a lot of people like this thing. Hey, they're all from like this kind of demographic. They live in Canada, perhaps. They like the idea of freedom. There's all kinds of different things that are noted on your profile. And what they do is they say, if those people, so many of those people like that, I bet you these people like it. And they share it out. They recommend it to other people in the greater YouTube community, making this community that much bigger, that much stronger, and gets the message out so much further. Rob Hellfire, member for 5 months. Thank you so much for one-upping on that one. I got a YouTube notification and a Discord notification. Keep on trucking. Awesome. Thanks so much, my man. That's really cool. Hi, Margaret Free. How you doing? Awesome. Since you're beginning, Clyde, during Freedom... Oh, since you're beginning... Oh, you've been getting notifications since the beginning. That's amazing. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, hit that like button. It really, really, really helps. You are better than the news, Clyde. Thank you. Well, this is the thing. Like I said, the news is trying to spin it. I just try to unravel it. I like to let people just make their mind up for themselves. And I know there's a bit of opinion in this because I think, this is where the spin's coming from. But yeah, give people more information, multiple sources, and let them come up with their own decisions on what's actually happening in the world. Sub chat, give out a like for Clyde. Do something awesome. Thank you so much, Snatch. It's free and it helps. It is free, absolutely. Another thing that actually absolutely helps is if you hit that share button and hit copy link. If you hit copy link, it tells YouTube that you've copied the link and you're sharing it out somewhere else. Hopefully you do share it out somewhere else, but it always just helps to hit that copy link, because that really lets YouTube know that people are willing to share this stuff out because it's that important to Canadians and to other people around the world to get this information out there. And speaking of Canadians and YouTube, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was Bill C-11. And as you know, YouTube isn't a fan of Bill C-11. It doesn't go with what it is they're looking to do. Yeah, they've run campaigns trying to help YouTubers get more information about C-11 because it's kind of everybody's in the dark about it. Nobody knows a lot about what's happening. Our future is to replace mass media by social media. Thank you, Clyde. Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. The mass media is dying. I mean, the legacy media, some people call it, traditional media, dinosaur media. It's dying, and you can see like the death rolls like happening. It's amazing when somebody like Tucker Carlson gets fired from the primetime spot for telling the truth, and everybody just goes, okay, well, we'll be watching him somewhere else on the internet. And that's kind of the way it's been going. I cheat on you, Clyde. I source a lot of different channels and cross-reference. You should, as everybody should. No, that's not cheating on me. That's being fair to yourself. I absolutely think that's a great thing to be doing. Clyde being a little spicy lately, not afraid to be demonetized. You know what? This morning, before we get into the C-11 thing, so this morning I did that. Well, yesterday morning I did that video talking about that drugstore in Vancouver. And I tried my best to do everything that I could to make sure that it would fit with all the like YouTube guidelines and all that stuff, and didn't say the wrong thing. And that's what it was. Rob Hellfire, the 550 super chat for a wobbly pop. I got one right here. Thank you so much. I'll be enjoying this one slowly throughout the stream. I got my my koozie. It keeps it cold because 2 hours with one, holy cow! It would get warm otherwise. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. So yeah, I tried everything that I could to get it right and not get demonetized on that video. And womp womp, big old womp womp, and what do you know, it gets demonetized. And that's ain't that the truth? Ain't that sad? So sad. But what is it recently? The truth is not what was it that was said recently? It was it's not that the truth is the most obvious, it's that it's the most ironic. And what's ironic in this situation, and pretty funny, actually, Trish Prue, you heard about me through YouTube recommendations during Freedom Convoy. That's awesome. That's really awesome. I'm glad so many people joined on and stayed around after that. But what was I saying? Yeah, so I had to cover the story because it developed. The story had developed. I hit it first go. boom, right in the morning. Nobody else was really talking about it except the guy who took the photograph. Global News hadn't made an article about it. No, so many people hadn't done or said anything about it. So I covered it. And then the next day I had to follow up because, you know, this story developed and we had much more information about it. So I did a video and I was just like, forget it. Who cares? I'm just going to go out and say everything, all the words. And you know what? They didn't demonetize it. It's just so, what? You know, you try so hard and they demonetize you, but then you just say, forget it. This one's not going to do well. Anyway, please share it because the algo is not going to help me out here. And fair enough. Okay, what? Somehow that one's fine, but yeah, that's the irony of this one in this situation. So that's something that happened this week. But yeah, anyway, the videos, check them out on the main channel page. Of course, I should share the main channel page because it's just looking delicious these days. Yep, absolutely looking delicious these days. Got some new graphics at the top. Looks a little less cluttered. Looks a little more, a little better in my opinion. I think this is a little bit better. Gone Flames. What? Gone Flames? Does that mean that the Flames got kicked out of the series? I don't know. I don't watch. Sorry, I'm not a sports ball or a sports puck kind of person. I do this other stuff on the internet and it keeps me busy enough. But hey, everyone to each their own. I'm not against this stuff. I just I don't follow it really myself. Paul R with a 550 super chat. Warm beer goes against Canadian guidelines. Keep it cold. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'll be able to keep another one cold thanks to you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll definitely keep this one cold. I don't want to advertise the company that makes these because they're not sponsoring or anything like that. But yeah, you can find them online. They're koozies, but they're like a thermos, and they'll keep stuff cold for a very long time. I'll stream for 2 hours, and one of these will stay cold, as I take only a couple of sips out of it in the entire time. But yeah, that's the way it works. What you're not a pucky bunny, Clyde? No, I'm not a pucky bunny. Oh, we're gonna get into that, Prairie Strong. We are gonna get into that only briefly, but because there's not a huge amount of story to that. But let's get into some of this YouTube stuff. So YouTube sent out a mass email to all the creators on the platform, and well, in Canada. And I mean, there's a lot of creators on the platform that this doesn't even apply to, but. Yeah, here it is. So they say, hi there. On Thursday, April 27th, the Canadian government passed Bill C-11 without the amendment to Section 4.2 that was meant to protect digital Canadian creators and give guidance to the CRTC on how to regulate user-generated content. Let's get the chat in here so everybody can see that as well. Now, mind you, this is another thing that I found interesting. I've been getting a lot of comments recently that people's chats, they see them pop up on their screen, but then when they watch on the channel page, like when they watch on the video page, they don't see it pop up on theirs. And I thought, well, this is a good thing then that I'm showing the chat on the screen, because if people's chats aren't showing up, there's a buggy something going on there. And next time I get a chance to talk to anybody from YouTube, I'd like to bring that one up with them. So if it's ever happened to you, please let me know about it, either in the comments here, in the chat, in the comments, or you know, send me a message on Twitter or on Discord, whatever. Just let me know if it's happening to you as well. But yeah, check it out and put your comments in there and keep track of it to see if they're actually coming up. Anyway, let's get on with this one. Although we're disappointed that the concerns of thousands of Canada's digital creators and millions of Canadian users were not addressed in the final legislative text, because we live in a dictatorship, not a democracy, it seems, we will continue to advocate for creators and support through the next steps in this process. You can watch this video from YouTube creator liaison Renee Ritchie for more info, which I haven't watched yet. I'll definitely get into it, but I've just been going over just what they've emailed to me. So this is just and I want to keep you guys tuned into this, because this is definitely going to affect you guys as well as consumers of content on the platform, whether it's Canadian content or other content. It doesn't matter, news or whatever. It's important for anybody who uses the website to understand not just this website, but any website on the internet, what's going on in Canada with this stuff. What happens next? Once the bill receives royal assent, it enters into the rulemaking phase, and this is the next step of it. So people are asking, like, the day after it passed, oh my God, is my internet okay? Well, no, it has, like, regulation takes a bit of time. It's not. It moves at the speed of government. Let's say they only speed this stuff along if they really want to get something emergency, right? Yeah. Winiska, this will affect Rumble as well. This is going to be a thing. This is going to be a battle for sure. And people aren't going to take this just laying down. That's for sure. That is definitely for sure. In this phase, the Minister of Heritage will issue something called a policy direction, which provides more guidance to the regulator on the government's priorities. After that, the CRTC will request submissions, organize consultations, and may conduct hearings to establish its rule and obligations, including how Canadian content is discovered and promoted on digital platforms. Now, I mean, that's really vague. You can tell that they're not trying to put in their own political biases and stuff like that. So they're staying out of that end of things and just telling you the details. During this process, our goal is to ensure that the CRTC understands how creators build their businesses on YouTube, how audience-led discoverability connects creators with their fans, and what Canadians expect when they come to the platform. And so here's the thing. YouTube has probably on the web, and I've been doing video content for years, they have the best discoverability than any other platform. And this includes Rumble, fans of Rumble. And sorry, I'm not digging on Rumble. I'm not, knocking them down. It's just they've spent a lot of time on discoverability. A lot of people I even know from Twitch came over to YouTube because the discoverability is so much better on the platform. And it's largely to do with video content, not digital, live streaming content. You have to be subscribed to a channel on YouTube before you'll get notified that they're live streaming. In this time, it will be vital that the CRTC hears from creators directly as it creates the rules for how the regulation will be implemented. And I'm going to repeat that again. In this time, it will be vital that the CRTC hears from creators directly as it creates the rules for how this regulation will be implemented. If your industry is being regulated, well, you've got to be involved in what's happening in the regulation and who the regulators are doing. Unfortunate situation on that is that, and Murray Rothbard was famous for saying, when a market gets regulated, the first thing to be bought and sold are the regulators. And this is what regulatory capture is all about. This is the legacy media trying to get a grip on the internet. It's gonna blow up in their faces, and this is where I almost don't want to be seen as Canadian content, and I'll explain that in a minute. I will explain that in a minute. But the letter goes on to say, what can you do now? Creators deserve a seat at the decision-making table when government policy impacts their livelihoods. If you want to get involved during the rulemaking phase or process, you can, number one, stay informed. Follow the creator advocacy group Digital First Canada, who will be sharing live updates when this process begins. Our Canada blog will also keep sharing information. You can also sign up for office hours with our government affairs team here. Number two, participate in the CRTC rulemaking process. Good luck. Good luck with that one. Let us know if you're interested in sharing your views as a part of the upcoming CRTC process. I'll let them know that. I'm gonna let them know that I'd like to share my views. I don't know how well it'll do, but I'm gonna jump in there. We'll share more details on how and when these hearings will take place once the information is available. So I'll definitely be getting in there and trying anyway. I know I'm going to end up, with the likes of JJ McCullough. He's an advocate against Bill C-11, what's been going on with that. So there's that. There's that. We want to thank you, Canadian creators, for voicing the concerns with the policymakers. Your contributions to the conversation have been instrumental in educating policymakers on how YouTube works, even though they don't care. They just don't care. We'll continue to stay in touch to share any updates that could impact your channel. Thanks, the YouTube team. Now, YouTube is not, and I know I get this a lot. I get a lot of people saying YouTube's terrible. They're not good. They're censorious and all this stuff. I think some of that is hype. Some of it's true, and it's somewhere in the middle. The truth, actually, this truth is somewhere in the middle. YouTube wants us all to do good. They want us all to do well, and I'm happy. I'm happy that they'll actually reach out and help out in some senses and in some ways. And in fact, they'll even give you congratulatory things when you do well. And why don't we get into that? So this was a package that YouTube sent me. And of course, I've got everything blacked out just in case somebody got a screen grab there of what's on this. But this is a package from YouTube saying, "Hey, congratulations on your success and what things you've done so far." And I'm proud of what's become of this channel and where we're going in the future with this. And YouTube, of course, with a little placard here saying, "Do you remember your first subscriber?" Yes, of course. "Do you remember your 100th or your 1000th?" Chances are you do, and we know that you'll definitely remember your 100,000th subscriber. Your fans may have found you while searching YouTube, learned about you through a friend. Maybe you showed up as a recommendation video. No matter how they came across your channel, your audience stayed and their numbers increased because of you and the community you've built. And you guys, absolutely, you guys are the best. It's amazing. We know that you have many more stories to share with your community, and we know that your fans can't wait for you to amaze them with even more of your commitment and creativity. We're proud to honor your impressive milestone of reaching 100,000 subscribers with a Silver Creator Award. Congratulations. And this is really cool. So keep creating, keep building. We can't wait to see what you'll do next. And we're here to support you along the way. And who knows, when you reach your 1,000,000th subscriber, we just may write to you and ask, do you remember your 100,000th subscriber? And that's just so cool. Sincerely, Neil Mohan, head of YouTube, the new head of YouTube. And what an amazing thing to behold here. And let's just get this out of here. Let's get this on out. Oh, wow. Oh, exciting. That is really exciting. Get it on the other side so you guys can see. And it's taking the lights in and the screens in, but official unboxing, unpackaging of the silver play button. Awesome. I'm really excited about that. And it's got the insignia or the inscription there. Presented to Clyde Do Something for passing 100,000 subscribers. We're currently at what, 106 now? It took a bit. It took a minute for it to come in. But hey, pose for a screenshot. There we go. You got it. Grats. Well deserved. Thank you so much. I really appreciate this. This means a ton to me. This was wow, a lot of work in the making. and it really feels good. It really feels good, and I want to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you for this. It's because of you that this is going to be going and sitting on the piano here temporarily until I find a good spot for it. Exciting, absolutely exciting. So yeah, that's an interesting thing that's happened this week. So yeah, Bill C11, we'll see what happens with that, and I'm gonna keep you guys posted on any of the details going up. So you can get a VPN now. I mean, that's a thing, but I don't know if it's definitely needed at this juncture or at this point. But we're in a situation where it may end up becoming a crucial thing in the future, and I'll definitely keep you posted on that. And we'll go from there. We'll definitely go from there. Other exciting news at the moment. Hey, this is from Brittany, friend of the channel here. Quote tweeting this tweet. And this tweet was from Tetros, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. This is the leader of the World Health Organization. Get this out of here for just a brief second. Yesterday, the COVID-19 Emergency Committee met for the 15th time and recommended to me that I declare an end to the public health emergency of international concern. Did they ask you 15 times and you said no 15 times? Is that what you're telling us? Or you met 15 times and they finally asked you? I don't know. Is that what's going on? Anyway, so just to let everybody know, it turns out, yeah, the pandemic's over. I know we've all let go of it for over a year and a half now, but the World Health Organization, trying to hang on to their power grab, has finally let go, and they're probably drafting the next I was gonna say the next pandemic. No, drafting the pandemic treaty that they're trying to make. Of course, they're trying to make a binding agreement where they get to take over the world government, all the world governments, if there's another pandemic in the future. To that, I say hell no, a big old hell no. But yeah, Brittany with a big long tweet. Because Twitter Blue will let you go over the 240 characters or whatever, but you have to, it goes in this other format. I try to still keep it under the 240, but whatever. That's just me. Global COVID-19 pandemic is officially ended, my friends. Clap. Let us not forget the seniors who died from the lab made. Okay, I'm not allowed to say this stuff on YouTube still. The pandemic's over, but I'm not allowed to say this stuff. Womp womp. But yeah, definitely go check out Brittany on Twitter at Bratworld, where free speech does reign true and reign high. You can say whatever it is that you want to say. Stuff that I can't read on YouTube, but that's a fact. Now, something else I wanted to get into, because there seems to be another pandemic, and it's just laugh through it all, Clyde. Yeah, I mean, what do? You just gotta laugh. You just have to laugh at these things. Let's get the chat in here. But anyway, I wanted to get into another situation that's been happening. Now, for years and years and years, it's been clowns that have been this scary thing. And the reason why is because clowns were kind of an innocuous thing. You know, it wasn't an entertainment thing. And yes, they were originally entertainment for children or whatever, but it turned into a scary thing because of, well, notable supervillains, I guess you could say. Just like straight up call them supervillains, because that's what they are, that took to the clown makeup and costume. And one notable one is John Wayne Gacy. He's the most well-known clown in history. Bozo the Clown. So it used to be nice things, but thanks to people like this, it turned into a big fearful thing, and it's just the imagery, and knowing what it was that he did made things all the more terrifying and just scarier and scarier. And then this went in through clowns are creepy AF. Yes, that's right. But you know what? Like, it inspired Stephen King. There you go. Stephen King's contributed to their fair share. Yeah, that's right. And it's because of people's fear, because of things that went on in reality. And it's just hiding behind a facade in order to become a predator. And this even went into comic books with the Violator from the Spawn series. If you're not familiar, he was a hell creature that was there to help the main character Spawn. And yeah, real evil piece of work there, of course, dressing like a clown, because that's where evil is incarnate. But I think we've got a new clown. There's the new type of clown, and I believe in 20 years time, or maybe not even that long, we're going to start seeing pop culture iconography like this, or Pennywise the clown. Instead of clowns, though, I believe it's going to be drag queens. And let me just show you why. This is just creepy stuff. This is the latest Kids Help phone ad being played on children's TV channels across Canada. Two hairy-chested and tattooed men in drag talking about cuddling with teddy bears. If this doesn't trigger a red flag in you, there's something wrong with you.
What do you do when you have lots of feelings? Sometimes I like to hold my favorite stuffy.
Sometimes I like to draw my feelings.
Sometimes I like to dance.
Give your feelings a place to go.
Feel out loud at kidshelpphone.ca. What do you do when you have lots of feelings?
Just
I like to
disgusting. I don't even know how to respond to this, but this is honestly like how I see things going in the future. People are gonna not care about clowns being this big scary thing. It's gonna be this. This is gonna be the thing of nightmares, and this is what, children that are growing up now, they're gonna write scary stories about these predators that were allowed to come into their school. Like, years ago, parents would allow these clowns into kids, parties and stuff. This is the next thing. This is absolutely the next thing. This is scary now. It is. So I'm looking forward to the horror movies that are going to be coming out in the future, with this as the thing. Yeah, it's not okay. It is not okay. It's already pure nightmare fuel. Absolutely. But oh man, somebody pointed this out to me today on Twitter. I was like, I have to share this. This was kind of last minute getting into the stream, but I just, when I see stuff like this, I just got to share it out and get into some of the other stuff that's going on. Killer drag queens from outer space. Yeah, right? Like these are the kind of stories we're going to be hearing. Silence of the Lambs. Yeah, well, yeah, I guess Buffalo Bill was one of those characters with the old leg tuck. Ew, yeah. Goodness. Wow. Okay, moving on. Let's move on to some of the stuff that was happening here in Canada recently. Real Andy Lee show. I want to throw a big shout out to her on Twitter. She's just killing it, pulling out, unearthing all kinds of information. It's hard to keep track of all of it because, well, the stuff with this Chinese collusion, Chinese interference stuff is just, there's too much. There's too much happening. But here we go. And she starts it off with "and" because it's like so much is happening. The Chinese embassy is already threatening us. And then in quotes here, China strongly urges the Canadian side to immediately stop this self-directed political farce, as if it's not because the Chinese government is interfering in our government. Not to go further down the wrong and dangerous path should the Canadian side continue to make provocations, China will play along every step of the way until the very end. The end of what, says Andy Lee. And this is the presser that they put out. And this is the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in Canada making official statements, and they're standing behind their diplomats that they had that were threatening our politicians and threatening their family, an extended family. This is something that's actually happening in Canada. It's really offensive. I've done stories on it earlier this week. So if you want to catch up on some of that news, tune into that. But I need to do a bigger deep dive so I even understand this whole thing even further, because there is just so much going on with it. More reason to expel that diplomat. Absolutely. And they refuse to, which is just mind-boggling to me that this isn't the case. And I honestly think that the RCMP should get involved. And I know maybe the RCMP is corrupt and maybe they're going to, just turn a blind eye. But this is not a self-policing issue when it comes to the political class in Canada anymore. This is terrifying. It's terrifying, and I think there needs to be independent stuff coming in. But what's the answer for the Liberal Party? Excuse me, burps tonight. Wow. Holy cow. I had a great dinner with the family. It's right now it's Kodomo no Hi, which is a special time of the year where you celebrate having children or having had children. And yeah, of course, the food is fantastic. And that was something that came along today and got the belches. And of course, you guys are suffering that now. But hey, thank you so much for tuning in nonetheless. So the Liberal Party is trying, I guess, to do a rebrand. I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to pull. Here's the Liberal Party on Twitter saying, time and again, Hillary Clinton has been a global leader on human rights. Says who? What? Nobody's ever said that. And nobody's ever said that. Strengthening the middle class. Nobody's ever said that. Building an economy that works for everyone. What? She didn't help Biden do that at all. That's for sure. We're excited to announce that she'll be joining Freeland, Christia Freeland. I don't know why her handle is just that. For a keynote conversation at Lib 2023. And here's the conversation. This occurred today, May 5th, Friday. Hillary Rodham Clinton and Christia Freeland. It's just unbelievable. I don't think they did the right branding. And we're going to talk to an expert about branding tonight. But before that, I don't know. Somebody fixed this. And I think they did it a little more justice than the Liberals did here in conversation. That's just not catchy. How about Satan Con? That's so much better. It just fits. It rolls off the tongue. It fits the persona so much more. It makes people want to off themselves, like it makes people want to, self-inflict some sort of injury multiple times to their own back. This kind of thing. It's awe-inspiring. It's not awe-inspiring. It's awe-inspiring. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So I thought that, a rebrand would definitely be a good thing. I'll run this by Vesper when we get him in a little bit. But yeah, this just kind of stood out a little bit better for me. But hey, that's just my opinion anyway. But Vesper D sharing out there a little snippet of what he thinks Twitter has been doing to the liberal brand here. Just that little blue bird is doing a number to the Liberals, of course. This is Vesper himself tweeting this out. But hey, they had that meeting and they got together. Rowan tweeting a clip out here. Justin Trudeau's Liberals have no issue courting foreign political interference as convention keynote speaker Hillary Clinton lauds the incredible record that the Liberal Party has here in Canada shortly after an emotional Chrystia Freeland starts to cry. Oh God, I mean, even alligators can cry, right? Or crocodiles can cry. That's a thing. But why don't we just have a listen to what they had to say here?
First, let me just say how thrilled I am to be here at the Liberal Party conference, to see such enthusiasm, such excitement, to have had the opportunity to listen backstage and look on the...
Can Chrystia Freeland like sit still? I don't know what she's doing. She's always got I don't get it. I don't get what she's doing. Anyway,
screen as our longtime friend, your former Prime Minister, Jean Chrétien, spoke. And now to be here with the Deputy Prime Minister to talk about whatever's on her mind and whatever is pertinent to the incredible record that the Liberal Party has here in Canada. And so
what? What, the incredible record of what? Destroying our entire economy, locking people down, destroying businesses, racking up the most debt we've ever seen with no end in sight, destroying our energy sector, leaving us hanging high and dry when the next administration comes in because of this, like, global warming policy that they have. What is it? What's their record? Holy cow, it's just ridiculous.
I personally am just delighted to be here because in many ways, the Liberal Party of Canada is a trailbreaker. And the thing...
Yeah, of communism in the Western civilization. Come on. Trailbreaker for sure at the current moment, for sure, yeah.
Things that over the history of this party you have achieved for Canada have not only improved the lives and opportunities
of their donors and their...
your fellow Canadians, but have also, sort of set a trail for others to try to follow. So I'm thrilled.
Yeah, it's called The Road to Serfdom. F.A. Hayek wrote about it years ago. Have a read. It's a good book.
To be with all of you today.
And I want to start by reading something.
I apologize for for publishing this voice. I really do. I really do apologize. But this is something we all got to live through. We got to live through it. We're gonna get through it, folks. We're gonna get through it.
That Secretary Clinton said on November 9th, 2016. Oh my God, I'm starting to cry now.
Oh,
I think
she can
all
cry.
of us heard you say this, and I think all of us cried. So this is what you said. And to all the women, especially the young women, who put their faith in this campaign and in me, I want you to know that nothing has made me prouder than to be your champion.
You gotta win to be the champion. Sorry.
Now, I know we still have not shattered that highest and hardest glass ceiling, but someday someone will, and hopefully sooner than we might think right now. Now, Secretary Clinton,
I'm sorry. Margaret Thatcher did ages ago. Don't pat yourself on the back. It's done.
I want to say to you, I just really want to pay tribute to you on behalf of everybody in this room, but maybe especially the women and maybe especially the young women.
I want to share with you. It cut off. Oh, I've got the rest of the clip here.
Donald J. Trump is now President of the United States. President Obama is the ex-president. For the moment, steps always Jackson for the
What a great
inaugural
honor to
address.
be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J.
Ah, there it is.
For their gracious aid throughout
I am
this.
so sorry
There you
to
are.
my world. I am so sorry to my world. This is not what we want.
We will face challenges.
There's so much
We will
potential
confront hardships, but we will get the job
for
done.
beauty and for devastation. In this one moment, it's just almost incomprehensible that they can exist right now. So
And we are grateful.
So
to
close.
President
Oh, so
Obama.
close. Oh, so close. So close. Oh, God, that's funny. Connie Buffone, thank you so much for the membership, for joining in to the Clyde Do Something channel memberships. Really appreciate that. We thank you so much. Enjoy the benefits of that in the chat. Moving forward, but hey, there's the whole thing with Chrystia Freeland with her I guess your mentor of Hillary Clinton, of all the people that you could have mentor. Paul R with a 550 super chat. She resembles the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz. Even sounds like her. I'll get you, my pretty. Yeah, absolutely. You and your little dog too. Oh God, that's hilarious. Apparently that's the Mandela effect, where the what a world. I think she didn't even say that, or maybe I'm wrong about that one. But yeah, anyway, moving on. We gotta move on quick, because we're gonna be getting Vesper in here in a little bit to talk about graphic design and his mission on Twitter. I'm looking forward to it. But hey, let's keep moving on. Vesper, of course, putting this one out there. Hillary called a subset of her population basket of deplorables. Trudeau called a subset of his population the fringe minority, arrogantly smearing people who do not agree with their policies. These people do not unite, they divide. Liberal hypocrisy. Yeah, but it definitely cost her election. That right there, it totally did. Yeah. That's for asking me if this video is gonna be backwards. Yeah, I'll let you know when you get here. But yeah, Justin Trudeau definitely torching the brand. Nobody's gonna respect the Liberals. This is gonna hurt them for years to come. And even the National Post was commenting on this in a story. Conservatives brought in more donations than Liberals by nearly $5 million. So $5 million more. And the format from their website sucks. So I'm going to go to, hey, look, the Post Millennials are also talking about this. Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives out-franchised Liberals by almost $5 million in the 2023 quarter one. So that's just the first quarter of this year. They've already raised $5 million more than the Liberals have, and that's a thing. The Conservatives have once again outperformed their Liberal rivals. The fundraising department bringing in over $8.3 million in donations in the first quarter of 2023. During the first 4 months of the year, the Conservatives brought in more money than all the other parties combined, beating out the nearest rivals, the Liberals, by $5 million. Right? This is incredible. Now, what needs to be noted here, though, and I really think that we should emphasize this, is the tables are turning, right? The tables are turning, the tides are turning, whatever you want to call it, the analogy here. But the popularity for the Liberals is waning. It does not look like if there's an election tomorrow, the Liberals would win it. In fact, as time goes on, Justin keeps putting his foot in his mouth, and it's just causing people to abandon him completely. Even people who do still want to be Liberals, they're just like, nah, I can't do this. This brand is done. You've shot yourself in the foot with your Schwabstikas and your cabinet, infiltrating cabinets and all of this stuff that's going on. Even the people who don't know about that, they see this energy policy and they're like, yeah, I care about the environment, but I don't want to shut down the world. You know, like that's what? Why would you do that? We don't want to be poor communists. We want to be good for the environment, rich country people. You know what I mean? This is what people are really looking for. So the Liberals are not. They're not offering this. In fact, there's articles like this from the Globe and Mail, the decline of the Liberal empire in Canada. And this is such a good article. I definitely recommend everyone go check out this article because it really lays out that they're done for. Like, they're politically finished. It's only a matter of time. But here's the thing. They're holding on to a quasi-majority because of Jagmeet Singh and his party, and it looks like they're going to hold on to that until 2025. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong on that. I think they're going to definitely stick to their guns on that one, stick to their gun bans or whatever on that one, and that's definitely where they're going. Speaking of gun bans, even Marco Mendicino in this True North tweet here. Public Safety Marco Mendicino announced the changes Monday, saying that it would ensure that future governments would have a very, very difficult time in making assault-style firearms legal again. They're anticipating not being in government. This is what I see this as. This is an open admission that they're not going to be in government if an election were to happen. As soon as an election happens, these guys are toast. They're done. And I don't even think their people want them anymore. They've just destroyed their own brand. They're finished. Just like Biden in the US. They're not gonna run Biden again. That's just stupid. That's just ridiculous. But yeah, this is where we're at. And of course, I'm gonna save you the time. But I did a video about this speech this morning, and it's just insane. More of the same rhetoric, the more of the same putting his foot in his own mouth, and that's where we are with that. I honestly believe, and maybe this is hopeful, maybe this is me just being hopeful, but I honestly believe that this is the way things are going. It may not be until 2025, but yeah, Trudeau's done. The Liberals, I think they've just destroyed their brand, and it's going to be really hard for them going forward to get anywhere. I think it'd be really, really interesting to watch this election that's happening in Alberta right now. The rest of the country, maybe you think that it doesn't matter because you don't live in Alberta, but I think it very much matters what happens in Alberta. The dichotomy is insane. The difference between the candidates that are up for grabs right now between Notley and Smith, there's a pretty staunch difference, and it's I keep getting back to this. It's like it's people who either respect property rights or people who think that property rights don't matter. And when that's the crux of your society, when that is the crux of everything that holds your society together, the idea of property ownership versus collectivism, and this whole idea that the state owns all the property, and whether it's fascism, communism, or some new flavor of, stakeholder capitalism or whatever that they say, this is very much a turning point in Canadian history. Either we're going to uphold property rights, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, the Bill of Rights. These are the things that we're going to do, or we're going to go in a completely different direction. And I believe that this is going to be the political landscape right now is in Alberta, and what happens there is really, really going to change things altogether. Anarchism? No, I'm not an anarchist, but I do believe in like voluntarism. That's definitely a good thing to live by, for sure. Absolutely. But this is where we're at. And yeah, I mean, people have put me in all kinds of categories. I've been called all kinds of things, including conservative. That was, I think it was the National Post that first called me a conservative. And I've always said I don't think I'm a conservative because I have different opinions than conservatives, but I get along with conservatives, and I voted for the conservatives in Canada several times because you tend to vote with what you align more closely to. Never underestimate them, Clyde. They fight dirty and know how to cheat. Absolutely. And I'm gonna be reporting on it all the whole way down the way. In fact, I'm gonna be having if you guys haven't caught it, I had Marty up north on Thursday morning. Check that video out. It was a brief history of what's going on with the Alberta election, and you can like politics in Alberta is a brief history of that and where we are currently. And every Thursday until the election, I'm gonna have Marty on again and again for these segments, so that'll help out for not just Albertans, but people across Canada for understanding what is happening with Alberta politics at the moment. Marty up north, super informed on what's going on, so he's probably the best guy for me to pull into the show to talk about this. So that's great. Looking forward to chatting with him again. So look for that on Thursday morning. But let's get into some of the stuff that's happening in British Columbia before we bring Vesper into the chat. Things, we're rushing along. I usually do 2 hours of this and then that's the whole stream. But right now we're going to be doing an hour of chatting with you guys and then going into chatting with Vesper, and then that'll be the second half of the stream. But here we are. Welcome to Vancouver from Aaron Gunn, filmmaker in Vancouver, the only city in North America currently serving cocaine, crack, heroin, crystal meth, and MDMA as well. That's on the sign in broad daylight with no consequences from the city or police. This was happening. He was reporting on it immediately, and this was the story that got me the old yellow demonetization flag. But somehow I skirted it this morning, so we'll see how this stream does. I have no idea how that's gonna work out. But hey, this is what we do here. We test the waters and see how it goes. Now, of course, Aaron Gunn, a filmmaker, social commentator, advocate for taxpayers and common sense. And he's got, definitely check him out. Check him out on Twitter. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Twitter and you're not following me, what are you doing? Follow me as well. Twitter is definitely the place. I used to tell people I go to Twitter so you don't have to. Now I tell everybody go to Twitter. It's great. Don't do meth, man. No, not gonna. No thanks. But here's the thing. This is what's been going on in Canada for some time, or in British Columbia, is this push to, I mean, I don't even know what to say about this. Either people are intentionally trying to destroy society, which there are people out there that are actively trying to do that. I think guys like George Soros and stuff, he was just named a terrorist by China, apparently. That's a thing. But funding a lot of these things to tear down society so they could build it up in their own image, which would not like to see happen. But then there are people who have the right intentions, but you know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and that brings us to where we are today. Now, in a film that Aaron Gunn put out called "Vancouver is Dying," there's a very important part to this film where they talk about basically the motive, but then, you know, the road to intention is paved, or the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And this is the whole idea of unintended consequences. You give, like, people come in and they, you know, oh, I just want to take care of these people. But, you know, it's kind of like feeding the wildlife. If you feed the wildlife, you're helping them right now, but you're really hurting them long run. And that's really what it comes down to. If you feed the wildlife, as the story goes, if you don't know this story, you know, it is a thing. There are people out there that don't know this. But if you feed the wildlife, what happens is they grow dependent on people, and then they learn that cars and garbage equal food. And then, well, that runs scarce because, you know, tourism dries up and people stop going to these places. So instead of going and eating berries out of the wild again, they'll take to looking for garbage cans, looking for neighborhoods, looking for places where they can go and forage for food in the new way that they've learned. And this is definitely bad habits that you're giving people. So here are some of the consequences of giving people a safe supply, they call it, safe supply of, and I get the intention. You don't want people to OD or hurt themselves because of the safe supply thing. You want to give them a safe supply so that they can, and not going to lie to you, I heard this from an RCMP officer from Vancouver, whom I know. And he told me something pretty gruesome and disgusting. This is a thing that the dealers will do downtown Vancouver. And because they're competing, right? These dealers are competing. They're all illegal, and they're competing against each other. And one of the things that they'll do to show that they have the good stuff is they'll intentionally OD an addict. They'll OD an addict and kill somebody, essentially. And what that does is everybody hears about it on the street, and they go, where did he get his stuff from? That guy's got the good stuff. And they'll do it just to bump their own sales. I'm not kidding. This is a thing that they do, and this is what the police are up against. This is the reality of the situation. It's disgusting. It's gross. This is the underbelly of society. And what these policies are doing is they're bringing the taboo away from it, and they're making it easier for people who are in this situation. But again, what does that do? That incentivizes more people to get into that situation. People who, you know, would be like, that's gross and I don't ever want to be there, so I'm going to make sure I don't get there. You'll have more people getting to that level. Now let's get into some of this safe supply stuff, because this I think is really important for people to understand. And this is an excerpt from the film. The film, by the way, is available for free. It's on YouTube, and you can watch the film in its entirety, 55-minute long film, and it's called Vancouver is Dying.
The policy of handing out free drugs is what's known as safe supply. The thinking being to give hard drugs like heroin to addicts so that they don't purchase the same drugs from illegal markets, which might be cut with a more dangerous substance like fentanyl. This is meant to reduce the number of overdoses in Vancouver. But has this worked? Is so-called safe supply actually safe?
There really is no such thing as safe supply, right? The term safe supply is a marketing term. There is nothing safe about handing out opioids en masse to a population with as few controls as possible.
Well, there's no such thing as a safe supply. When you supply somebody with a drug like fentanyl or heroin or cocaine or methamphetamine, there's nothing safe about that. You are perpetuating an illness, you are perpetuating addiction, and it's essentially state-sponsored addiction.
The proposal to provide people who are homeless and unemployed with schizophrenia free methamphetamine and opioids. What do you think that might do for their psychosis?
It's serious situation there. Like people, and I know I'm laughing and stuff, and this is just kind of maybe a cope for me, but I've known people with these, you know, mental issues, and the last thing you want is them to be self-prescribing stuff. Like, and especially these illicit drugs and the hard stuff, because I mean that's what, you know, a lot of people gravitate towards that because it numbs everything, especially people with psychosis and whatnot. And that's the last place they need to be, because it's a very destructive path. Absolutely. What's this guy talking about? I give I give them out massive amounts of opioids all the time. Yeah, because you're a pharmacist. You're doing it legally. Is that the safe supply? I guess. Unreal. But yeah, this is sad, period. But this is where it gets worse. So what happens with the safe supply is it doesn't always just end up in the hands of the people that it's intended for. This is the problem. You'll still have the illicit street drugs that are out on the market, and well, where do these safe supply drugs go to?
The idea of safe supply is meant to replace an individual's addiction to more dangerous street drugs with those supplied by the government. But in practice, is this how it actually works?
The safe supply drugs such as like Dilaudid and Dexedrine and stuff, you have people that are getting that and they'll only take one before they go to the doctor for a urine test because the doctors will check to make sure that you're taking it, right? The rest of it gets sold on the black market. Like I've even heard of college students.
Jellyduck 100, thank you so much for the membership for 12 months. You've been a member for a year. That's amazing. I haven't did the membership. Happy 12 months. Awesome. That's fantastic. That's crazy.
And high school students in this area in general purchasing those safe supply drugs off of dealers that sell all of the harder narcotics that are creating the problem that we see in the downtown east side.
So the dealers are buying, they're basically trading these safe supply drugs to the addicts that are getting them from the government, and they're trading them for hard illicit drugs. And then the dealers are taking those drugs and they're selling them to school students, which is the new gateway to the illicit drugs. So instead of the safe supply getting people off drugs, the safe supply is adding new addicts to the cycle. It's crazy. Paul R with a 550 super chat. Safe supply sounds and looks to me is similar to government street level MAID. Yeah, and that's another thing that they're offering these people. Hey, would you like to you don't like being an addict? Would you like a chance to check out? It's unbelievable. It's really gross. So like I said, either this is intentional, which I want to believe that it isn't. I think that some people want things like this to occur, but other people, it's again, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But this is what's happening on the streets.
Reselling the dope, the dealers who are paying, $1 a pill, are taking those to other jurisdictions around the city and selling them for $20 a pill.
Well, in Surrey right now, they're $5 a pill all day, even upwards of 7 and 10. It depends on the ebb and flow of the demand. You go to Edmonton, they're $20, $30. In New Brunswick and Newfoundland, upwards of $40. Northern Saskatchewan, $40.
If all Safe Supply does is literally fund the drug habit for people struggling with addiction, how can the government possibly think this is the compassionate solution?
The proponents of this, the quote-unquote left or whatever you want to call them,
unreal,
seem to have taken in their minds like the compassionate high ground. Yeah. But is this really the compassionate solution for the people that are living this life?
Well, I certainly don't think so. I don't think it is. I don't think that when you look at somebody who is like living in a kind of state of like living death, a kind of like zombie-like sort of state, I don't think it is compassionate to kind of look at that person and say that's as good as you'll ever have. We as a society have no aspiration for you that is better than that, because we have an ideology, a condescending ideology, that says that is basically your lot in life. You cannot change it because you have no agency. Nothing about drug addiction relates to choice, and in fact, nothing about drug addiction is even inherently bad. So it's just, I don't know, it's like what the old saying says, it's something so dumb that only an intellectual could believe it, right?
Okay, I like that. I definitely like that. Something so dumb that only an intellectual could believe it. And that's where we are. That's where we are when it comes to this stuff. And this is where we go. Now, I'm going to encourage everybody, go check out that whole film, Vancouver is Dying, the full movie by Aaron Gunn. And watch the whole thing, because it's really, really important to understand how this stuff is going. Now, again, this compassionate, they're brushing it off as compassion and saying that this is your lot in life. This is as good as it gets. You're a dirty drug addict, and we've got to make sure that life is the least painful for you to continue being a dirty drug addict instead of taking the medicine that it takes. Medicine always tastes bad, and this is always the analogy when it comes to either economics or whatever. The medicine always tastes bad. Recession is the recovery period. Detox tremors is your body recovering from the drug addiction. You need to get off of these drugs. This is the whole point. It gets better over the other side of the hill, but if you just keep medicating it away, you're just you're digging yourself further and further into this hellscape. But you have things like this. Well, here's the story from Vice News, almost congratulating this guy in Vancouver. Store selling heroin, meth, and cocaine just opened in Canada. Jerry Martin has opened the drugstore in Vancouver. If arrested, he plans to launch a constitutional challenge. This is his thing. He wants to, constitutional challenge for this guy. That's a real stretch, isn't it not? Is it not? A constitutional challenge. But so Jerry Martin, 51, opens a drugstore on Wednesday in Vancouver's downtown east side, a neighborhood that has long been considered ground zero for Canada's overdose epidemic. While British Columbia has very progressive drug laws, the mobile shop operating is completely illegal. The province recently began a 3-year drug decriminalization pilot project for possession of small amounts of opioids, cocaine, meth, and MDMA, but selling remains prohibited. Congrats on your Cracker Jack prize there on your piano. Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. However, Martin told the Vice News that he opened the store because he wants to give people drugs that haven't been tested, or that have been tested and are free from adulterants. So he wants to eliminate the risk for these addicts. Oh, let's get rid of the risk and make it easier. The safe supply. It's the same thing. It's the safe supply argument. They're selling out this safe supply so that they don't have to worry. They can do this easy. Oh, but don't worry. He'll be checking IDs to make sure the customers are at least 18 years old. And he says he wants them to sign a waiver indicating that they've previously used the drugs they're purchasing. Okay, so he's not the one hooking people on it. He's just taking advantage of the fact that people are already addicted. And this is the thing. Oh, it's insane. You can't make this stuff up. But his point and the whole thing that he wanted to do, and don't worry, he got his way, and we'll get into that. But Martin runs the real risk of being arrested, and that was his goal. If that happens, his lawyer, Paul Lewin, has already prepared arguments to launch a constitutional challenge. He would allege that the law that prevents the safe supply and result in death by poisoning contravene Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms and must be struck down, Lewin wrote in a letter to Martin's potential landlords and business partners. Now, what he's saying here is that by making it illegal for him to sell drugs on the street, illicit narcotics on the street, they're depriving people of their life because otherwise they would be poisoned. Now, this is a slippery argument. And if a judge actually hears this and gets convinced by it, the precedent that it will set is it'll make every drug dealer on the street now a legal business entity. I'm not kidding. This is where we're at. This is what they're seriously getting to. And we keep hearing that the slippery slope is a fallacy. The slippery slope is some sort of fallacy, a fallacious thing that you can't, you shall not invoke the slippery slope, because the slippery slope is not true. But what is this then? What is this? You know, making drugs, decriminalizing drugs because, you know, it sucks throwing addicts in jail. Well, addicts often, and this is the police, they often can't bust them for the crimes they're committing to pay for their habit. I mean, you think drugs are cheap? Try not having a job and having a $200 a day habit or whatever, and then not to mention, you know, a roof over your head and food. But like, this is the thing. These drugs aren't cheap, and the crimes that they have to commit to get the money to get the drugs is what's going on. So the police, you know, have a hard time catching them in the act of stealing. One tool that they've always had was to catch them on possession. Catch them on possession of these drugs, and the drugs are in jail too. Yeah, that's true. And that's not good either. But that's the thing. This is one of the tools that the police had to keep people off the street. And now that tool's gone. That tool is totally gone. You're not going to, like, you crush a dealer, you take out a dealer, there's 10 other dealers behind him. The supply is never going to end. The supply is never going to end. And this is not the way out of it. It's not the way out of it. But at the end of the day, the real losers in this whole situation are the people who are actually deprived of healthcare in British Columbia, because they just ruled that you're not allowed to go. They ruled in a Supreme Court challenge, by the way. Dr. William Day of the Canby Surgical Clinic was 12 years in a legal battle to try to win the right for just regular citizens of British Columbia to be able to, if they can't get treatment by the medical system in Canada within a reasonable amount of time, or within British Columbia, to be able to go to a private clinic and have that operation done. You know, there's an embargo. You're not even allowed to do it. You're not allowed to go. It's illegal for a doctor to operate on you or do any sort of medical treatment on you in a private setting. It has to be done through the MSP or through the government system. We're the only OECD country that does this, by the way. We are the only OECD country that does this. So he was asking to be on par with all the OECD countries, all the other ones, where, you know, there's a private option if you can't get it in time. Instead, what's happening is they said no. They said no to that. And now they're also ramping up how many addicts are going to be filling the hospitals with their drug overdoses and all of this stuff, taking away what's already not enough for everybody else in the medical system. This is where we're at here in British Columbia, and it's just disgusting. And the rest of Canada seems to be following suit in rhetoric. Not Alberta at the moment, but if you have Notley get in, well, that might be the case, and that might be where they're going, because I've heard some of the rhetoric like that coming from that camp. Anyway, global news, talking about this. Legal drugstore selling heroin, meth, cocaine in downtown Vancouver for safe supply. This was posted May 4th, 2023 at 9:19 a.m. Didn't take very long. By the way, I scooped this story on Global. I had this out before they even did. Crazy. That's insane that I got a scoop on something. But May 4th at 9:19 a.m., how long did it take? Well, here we are, May 4th at 5:02 p.m. Police arrest man operating mobile hard drug store in Vancouver. So it turns out it's totally not legal what he was doing, but that's not the point. That's not the point. He wanted to bring a constitutional challenge in order to make dealing drugs on the streets legal in British Columbia. Say thank you to Brandon's open borders for all of this. Yeah, well, the only thing open on the borders is for economic migrants and drug trafficking. Unvaccinated people are definitely not allowed to cross. That's for sure. At least until the 11th. That's the announcement was made. America is the land of the free. They say the land of the free is gonna just tick a little bit of a notch on that freedom chart. That's a lot of the freedoms are gone, as we know, in America anymore. But hey, the land of the free, they call it. They still call it that. They still call it that. It's unreal, unbelievable where it's going from here. But we're just waiting on Vesper to come join us in the chat. Not sure. I thought he was maybe snoozing. I don't know. We'll see if he gets in here. But I wanted to talk also. Lauren Southern put out a video recently. Land of the Freaks. Yeah. Well, I'm one of those freaks. My dad's American, so I'm half American. It's that's a thing. That is a thing that I've always grown up in Canada, though. I lived in Japan for a point in time, and that's a thing. But one other thing before Vesper comes in, I wanted to talk about was the sad disappointment, and that is of Tucker Carlson being taken off the air on Fox News. I'm sure he'll find a good place, and hopefully everything works out. And he can. I think they're going to try to hold him on his contract so he can't go anywhere. But that's we'll find out soon enough what's happening with that. But unfortunately, he was putting out a documentary called "Oh Canada," and Lauren Southern was going to be in that. And well, it looks like it's not going to be happening. And I'll just pop this up here where she talks about how sad it is that won't be happening.
Experience in media, let me tell you that. However, it was just sadly announced yesterday that the O Canada original won't actually be airing at any point, which is a massively disappointing move by Fox News, not just for Tucker, I'm sure, but for all the people who sacrificed their time and efforts into making this film. Beyond just his fantastic film team, I know my church personally and community all came together, coordinated, and held an event for the movie where we all discussed our most intimate struggles through Canada's lockdown policies. And it really just kind of feels like that classic slap in the face from a large media corporation who are more concerned with being as petty as possible in their squabbles with Tucker than all of the people he was going to help in this film. Why not publish it? It's already made. These messages need to get out there. It's like Fox just has to have that one up. They have to get their way. It especially feels particularly yucky and petty when you hear Tucker isn't even technically fired. He's just being held under contract, and they won't allow him to air his shows or all of these incredible projects he's done that are all completely finished. Either way, I do not think this is the end for Tucker Carlson, but it is worthwhile talking about how it got to this point and where he may go next. Not least of all because I'm a little pissed that the project I helped work on got caught up in all of this mess. So let's jump into it. First things first, I don't think we can even begin to analyze the Fox versus...
Okay, so this is in a grander video about Fox, and she's talking about Tucker Carlson and the whole situation there with Tucker Carlson and what's happening there. But it's really disappointing that this was a movie that was going to come out that was going to be, international audiences, right? International audiences being able to see what happened with the Freedom Convoy, things that Americans didn't even know for the most part what was going on with the Freedom Convoy. There's so many people out there. The biggest political movement, grassroots political movement in Canadian history, and so many people didn't hear about it, and this got squashed. So it's really sad. I hope it doesn't just sit on the cutting room floor. I hope at some point we get to see parts of it. And like Lauren Southern said there, it was done. It was ready to go, and they could just air it, even though Tucker doesn't work for them anymore. But it seems like there may have been a grudge there with Rupert Murdoch, the owner of Fox News. But this is where we are. But hey, let's I want to bring in a guest, special guest here, because, well, he's I've shared a lot of his stuff. On Twitter. There's some amazing things that he's put out there. He's made a real name for himself recently. Let me just get into the web here. So Vesper D, you can check him out on Twitter. He's made a personal vendetta. He's a brand designer, dad, husband, anti-beta male, Christian, anti-woke, dreamer, espresso lover, dialectic thinker, asymmetrical strategist, and he's Batman. Apparently, this is his claim to fame on Twitter. But that's not all of who he is. I mean, this guy's a professional graphic designer, and you can check out his website, Vesper Design. Some of the projects that he's worked on is just, I mean, to say top notch is an understatement. Like, we're talking about a guy who's working on the real thing. Like, it's not messing around. These are big names, big brands, big projects, and he's taking the talents that he's built a name for himself in real industry, and he's taking on Camp Trudeau and really nailing the Liberals for basically what's been going on in Canada and the pain that they've caused us over the past few years. So without further ado, let's get right into it and chat with Vesper, my man.
Hey,
how you doing?
How you doing?
Good, man. And I'm really excited to have you on here finally. You and I, we talked so many times behind the scenes, and what's just so amazing to me is the fact that you have, like, I mean, I'm not going at the government with my mechanic skills. I'm an amateur guy on the internet, right? Like, right. That's a different story. You're a professional at this, and that's an understatement, right? Like, you're not just a professional, you're an industry leading professional at this, and you're like, what? Just tell me, what's your story? Why are you doing this?
Well, I mean, I guess I need to start somewhere. So I built this company up now for about 12 years. It was something that I had built when I had hit a very strange place in my life. It was a place where I'd call the desert. I didn't know where I was going to go in my life. I'm a child of a generation of jewelers. I thought I was going to be a jeweler. I ended up finding out that my heart wasn't really there to do anything in jewelry. So the art was there and it was calling out to me. And I recall there was this one time in my life where maybe 10 to 12 years ago, I got down on my knees and I prayed and I said, give me, God, tell me what to do. And I am just, I'll make it clear, I am a Christian, and I do believe in God. And I believe God can talk to us in ways that we don't understand sometimes, but it came out and I heard him. I don't know, I had like a vision of like a light in the dark, because that's what it felt like. And that light was like a guide, so to speak. And I took that name for Vesper, which is basically a light in the dark. And for me, since that day, that's been my whole thing, that I need to take this journey. And it wasn't easy, because a lot of things had to die in me so that a lot of things could live in me. A lot of my pride had to die. A lot of my self-interests, a lot of my arrogance, all that stuff had to go. I remember going to my first Comic-Con here in Montreal. That was like the deadliest thing that I ever done, but it's probably the best thing. I remember walking in with my like drab art. I was just starting out, had like no technical understanding. And I remember walking up to the Marvel counter and the DC counters, and I was like, hey, can you guys review my sketches? And the first guy was like, who put you up to this? Is someone punking me? And I'm like, totally legit. Like, I get like, what? Like, he's like, come on, did like Phil put you up to this? And like, it was so gutting. And I'm like, no, man, I'm serious. He's like, he closed the book. I don't know if it was Moore or something, Adam something. He closed the book and he said, when you take this seriously, come back and see me. And he just gave me back the book. And dude, I put like 6 months into that sketching. And it was like, you're not even on the same planet that you need to be for me to even be reviewing your stuff.
So I don't even understand where that mentality, like, I don't get what that exchange was. Like, what, how do you get yourself in the door? Like, what is the process there?
Well, let me tell you why that exchange was perfect for I think for most artists, that's probably the best exchange you can have. It's brutal.
Yeah.
And that brutality is what will make the artist or break the artist. So if the artist takes that and will not press on, it was not for him. If it was truly his passion, then no matter what anybody says, you will inevitably overcome this and prove yourself in that, with that regard. And it wasn't just him. I went to Spawn Entertainment, the McFarlane brand.
Yeah. We were talking about Spawn earlier.
Yeah, I went to all of them. I even went to DC, and I think I was there when Stan Lee was alive. He was signing autographs and stuff like that. And I was very discouraged. I told my wife, God bless her, man. She was like, yo, keep going. It's not easy. And so that's how it all started. Then one thing led to another. And I began to take it more seriously on the technical side. I used to think it was just talent, but really talent will only get you so far. You need technical expertise because you're not competing against people with just ideas. These are people that can flesh out their ideas and make it a reality. Now, the problem is in the industry of art, there is a subjective, objective balance. And if you're skewed too much to the subjective with no skill, then you're just arrogant and diluted. But some people go to the opposite side where they're too objective and no great ideas ever come out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
well, I know for me, for example, I used to do videos about videos on automotive stuff, and I would come up with ideas, and I'd spend so much time on the idea that I wouldn't actually get the video done. And then I discovered that the if I was to just act on the video idea, maybe it'll be crap, but I would hone my skills over time. And I would I'd be able to, get stuff done. Obviously I don't do automotive content anymore, but I've gone forward with that mentality. Just get it done. And if it sucks, well, do it again, but get it out there.
And yeah, it's exactly that, man. And listen, that journey afterwards was a complete walk of faith. It was still in the desert, but I had like a drive to do this. So what's great about it is that I'm one of the good qualities I have is that I am very quick at learning, and I don't know why, but I happen to have an incredible memory. I can remember things in tremendous detail and in large chunks. I could read like a chapter and probably recite a chapter in a book. Maybe the first time I got slower now, but I used to be like that. I don't know what it is.
Oh, wow.
Maybe it was a mental illness.
It's like a Rain Man thing.
Yeah, and my wife would say so. Yeah. My wife would say so.
Oh, that's funny.
By the way, am I coming in too good?
Yeah, you sound great. Good? You sound great, and it's all Perfect. Good. I mean, just hear what the chat says. Put it in the chat, everybody. Does it sound good on your end? But I think it sounds good.
Yeah, is there any delay on the video? I just want to make sure.
No, there's no delay. It's
perfect.
Good.
Okay, so I entered then. I started joining contest-based websites. Mm-hmm. I joined a site called 99 Design. Some of you might have heard it. It's kind of like a Fiverr, but it's like a more upscale Fiverr.
Oh, okay.
And that was a 2-year masochistic endeavor. Because Clyde, I entered 200 contests and I lost 200 contests. I made nothing off of 200 contests, like full logos, full banners.
Wow.
And so like, imagine like Clyde, you go to 99, right? You put down like $500 and you say, I want to have a logo, and like 50 people from all over the world, 100 people sometimes all over the world, all submit to you their ideas. You got to pick one.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that 200 times, and then I won one after the 200th time. And I was like, got one, bitch. Sorry. I was like, I got one.
Yeah.
But it's funny because a lot had to change in me as I was doing this. A lot of preconceived notions needed to drop. Things about what I think is good, things that are quality, effective ways of performing and executing things in the fastest way and the most efficient way, discovering the tools that facilitate the time and maintain the quality. Dude, after that 200th loss, I don't know what happened. Something just blap. And I just started winning. And we're talking a contest where sometimes 500 people join, and I win. That developed me more and more and more. And I suddenly started making contacts through there.
Are these
and the
like,
contacts,
are these blind stuff? Like, are they blind? Like people are
sometimes. Yeah.
So they're
sometimes
not, it's not even,
contests.
they don't even know your name or any of that stuff. So they're not.
No, they do. And I have no problem sharing with you the profile because I'm still there.
No. What I meant though is like, they're not, were they picking you again and again because they started recognize your work and they're like, oh, okay, this is
right. Well,
this is this guy.
Well, look,
and we like what he's doing.
Yes,
he's going somewhere.
Yes. But like anything, you got to build cred, right?
Right.
You need cred. And if you just win one contest, like, all right, someone will look at you. 10 contests, they'll look better at you. At 100 contests, like the company starts recommending you. You understand? Like, I can't tell you how many times the corporation, which is now owned by Vistaprint, by the way, 99 just got bought by Vistaprint. So that's like massive.
Yeah, it's big.
So when let's say they get a client that needs a logo for like $2,000, $3,000, and they try this whole, submitting, all these people coming in together, making a network out of it and social activity. And then the client's like, yeah, all these suck. 99 will contact me and be like, look, this client is a A-list client. We don't want him lost. Tell us your cost, solve it for him. That's where I'm at right now.
Wow.
Right. So when you get to this place of credibility, then it branches out. I ended up meeting the VP of Coca-Cola through there. And then I met a VP in Audi. And then I met a VP at McLaren. And so it's like things bap. And, you start out as a designer that was nothing. And you build cred based on the work that you do, not your ego, not your overselling, just your work, the work that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've ultimately learned in this industry, and we could talk about the technicalities of the stuff that we were going to talk about, but I will say this, it is a very rare creature that can be recognized purely on his work. Most of the industry it's not what you do, it's who you know.
Right.
It's that simple. Like I could be literally the next and best designer for Fendi or Gucci, but this guy's brother is friends with that guy, so he's going to get the position.
So I've noticed that even within my own industry, because as a mechanic, I mean, I don't think I've had a application or a job interview in the last 10 jobs I've had, right? You don't go through that process. You show up and you shake people's hands and you say, that's what you do. You walk into a shop, hey, I'm this guy, I work at that shop and I'm coming to look at yours, and that's where you're meeting people and it's reputation.
Pretty much.
It's people knowing like what you've done and where you've worked and hearing about you or, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it works the other way around too. It'll make sure that you don't get a job at a lot of places if that's the case.
Oh yeah.
But
oh yeah.
Yeah. And networking is a huge thing as well. I've found, and that branches onto the online world as well, because networking has helped me as much as making content, because you're talking to people, you're bringing people on, you're having conversations with people, and this is all interesting content to have, especially, I mean, with you. People in the chat are asking me right now, did Vesper make your logo?
No, I helped with the logo. I didn't make no logo. No, I told, and I'm going to sound like such a prick when I say this. I'm like, most of the people will not afford what I do, but when I like you, and I really dig you, Clyde. You came at a time in my life in these last 3 years. Like we'll get into a little bit more of that and why I did the Twitter and all that stuff, because it all ties together how our friendship came to be.
Yeah.
But you gave me a lot of hope at a time in my life when I was really dark. And I'm married. I got kids. I got whatever, but a lot happened. And I buried myself in my work, which was not good. And good and not good. But at the same time, it was all about timing, right? So where I am now, I have a loyal set of clients that I'm not worried. And what's good is the kind of business I do, I don't need to go into no shop. So when everyone's getting lockdowns,
mm-hmm.
like this is par for the course for
me. It didn't affect you at all.
Are you kidding me? The only thing it affected me is that the kids are home more now, and that's annoying. So
I love to see you, but would you get out of my office kind of thing?
Yeah, right. And so what ended up happening was a lot of my clients, some of them are in Honduras, some of my clients are in Germany, some of my clients are in Sweden. I have clients in Russia. I have clients out in Sudan. Believe it or not, 2 weeks ago, I was in a call with Saudi Arabia, but that's like me at 4 a.m, talking to them at like 9 a.m. So I'm secure in that my livelihood. Thank God. I thank God for that. One market goes down, they're still safe. This market goes down, this other client's safe. You see what I'm saying? Like I'm diversified globally for my work, and I'm meeting people that could just toss you a bone just because, you know what I mean? So I'm grateful for that. Now, this is where it kind of turns everything on its head, because everything that's my brand on Twitter is nothing like what I do. I mean, I use these things that I do, but people don't know what I do. And so this became like, if you go down to my personal Twitter, I don't know if you could show people, if you could scroll all the way down on my Twitter to like the first post. It's not that long. I trimmed it up a little bit.
Oh, you trim it up? Yeah, I'll have to.
Yeah.
So we're starting at the top here. And
yeah, if you just go all the way down.
You retweeted this out. By the way, you did make this.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll get to that. But yeah, scrolling all the way down.
Like if you go down,
how long does it go?
Yeah, you'll see. It's right there.
That's it.
So I don't know if who knows this person, but this is one of the world champions, heavyweight boxing champions of the world, Roy Jones Jr. I designed brands that he's wearing.
Oh, okay.
If you go up, you'll notice that I was in the NFT market space for a bit. I did art for companies. I even spoke to. Hold on, you go back down. I spoke to Snoop Dogg.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And I ended up making him an NFT, and he accepted it.
Oh wow!
If you want to ever go, so I made a lifelike version of him, for him to have. So I was starting Twitter with like this mind in art, like go art, and then the lockdowns happened, and a lot of stuff happened in my life, and it affected me in a very negative way. I live in Quebec. And
one of the worst provinces to get hit with
the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, you know what? If you would have just said nicely, I would have taken it. But the way that you're coming off is like, no, you're gonna do it, even if you don't want to do it. We're not gonna let you do nothing. And then it started going up. My first target was our premier, Legault. I thought he was doing this, but because I knew nothing about politics, I didn't care about politics. Mm-hmm. But then I started going up the ladder, and it ended up at Trudeau. I realized what I had never wanted to know was just how much influence the federal government was doing in all this. And then obviously you can go even past the federal government. You find out there's a globalist thing to this.
Yeah.
So without going further and further, I began to realize that not that there was no injustice. I suppose I'll say this to everyone that's listening. And I'm sure it's going to resonate with so many people. I always knew there was crooked leaders throughout time. I'm a studied individual. I studied a lot of history in art, a lot of history in social civilizations. I've always seen crooked and corrupt governments. What I don't think I was ready for, Clyde, was how the people within my bubble turned.
Yes.
I was not ready for that. Like that caught me off guard. Like, imagine like you're blocking something and you're like, yo, hold the door. And then you realize that everybody ditched. And you thought you were like we all were on the same page, that people that come in making wide platitudinal things. And I'm looking for my mom. She ain't there. I'm looking for my bro. He ain't there. I'm looking for, and all of them, I feel like, I don't know, it's like that SpongeBob SquarePants scene where like that Plankton, he put like a bucket on all their heads and now they're all zombies. And nothing I say to them makes sense. And that it shocks you because I'm like, yo, you and I studied Aristotle. We studied Socrates. We looked at the history, bro. How could you be believing this? Don't you see it? No, you know what? No, we don't think like that. You're just, conspiratorial. I'm like, me? I'm the conspiracy theorist? Like me, you're talking to me. And I started talking to doctors that were my friends. I have medical doctors that are my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, dude, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. He's like, no, it's not like that. I'm like, look at the stats. Stats don't matter. Lives matter. I'm like, what? And man, I lost. I could easily tell you I lost 75% of my entourage.
That's crazy. I mean, I know people out here in British Columbia that know doctors and talk to them on the daily, and they'll tell me, a lot of these guys, they don't believe the stuff that the government's telling them, but they're not going to risk it. They're comfortable. No. They have their situation. They've seen what happens to people that speak out, and this will blow over eventually. They're all saying that this will all just blow over, and then everybody moves on, and that's the game they played, and that's really sad.
But that's what we're see. That's not what we're ready for. I mean, I heard wives leaving their husbands over this. I heard kids not talking to their parents over this. And you know what? In a way, if you see, this is where my marketing and consulting will come into this conversation, and I'm going to be able to do some fun things with you and enlighten maybe you and the people listening to you about how this is done. Marketing and design. Marketing first, strategy second, marketing strategy, then the design. Okay, so I'm watching this. Remember, this is what I do, and everyone's going to think I'm a villain. Marketers.
Yeah. Ever since Edward Bernays. No. Before you get into that, I want to talk about something that Edward Bernays did, and tell me if this is the kind of stuff that you do. So, Edward Bernays, he was famous for being the nephew of Freud, right? The famous psychologist, and he worked with a group. I think it was like Crisco or some company, Betty Crocker or something like that. That made the easy bake cake. You just add water to the powder thing. Well, yes, it was a flop, and nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to buy it, and all these women wouldn't buy the product. And they're like, "Why? This is such a good product. It's revolutionary. It's like it's a cake. You just add powder and then bake it, or you add water and bake it." And so they did a study group, and they found that these women in the study group felt kind of guilty because they really didn't do enough work. As stupid as that sounds, they made the whole dinner, but like the cake is the thing. So they said, well, how about in the next study group, we have them crack an egg into it. We're not going to change the formula or anything. We're just going to have them crack an egg into the bowl and mix it up with the water. And then they ran another study, and they loved it, and it was an instant success. And they chalked it up to the fact that they felt like they actually did something, like they actually did some work. So there's a big psychological effect on them, and all of a sudden, this
we're going to talk
that
about that.
Became this hit. A huge hit.
If you give me the opportunity today, everyone in the audience is going to go up 35 IQ points.
Well, let's get into it then.
So we have to get something clear.
Okay.
When I say I hate Trudeau, what I don't mean is I hate, no. What I mean is there is a deliberate structure and messaging and psychological, what we call priming, that happens in marketing. Marketers are they're in a form salesmen, but their job is meant to figure out how to unlock the individual, the group, and the masses. Okay.
Yeah.
So when we're thinking of something, we're either deciding, are we creating a trend, or are we solving a trend, or are we manipulating a trend?
Okay.
So so it's all about understanding, are we creating a trend or manipulating a trend?
Right. Is the trend already something that's happening and you're jumping on board?
Right.
Or is
Right.
this something that you're actually creating, you're starting it, you're the pioneer of?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was at a board meeting in Santa Monica, and the VP of marketing remarked and said, "Man, we are all the spawn of Satan." Like to the whole marketing team.
Well, I mean, you can use your skills for good, or you can use them for evil, right? Like that's where you're at.
And the way he coined it is that we're essentially psychological puppet masters.
Oh,
and that our job is like the person that does not know how to throw strings into the minds of men to control them is not a marketer. He should find another job. That's what he told me.
Is that kind of like the Yovel, or is it what's his name? The Klaus Schwab's right-hand man, the Israeli guy, the bald-headed Israeli guy, and he talks about the digital dictatorship and how in the future they've cracked the code, they've cracked the mind of the human, and they can manipulate them into doing whatever they want. Is this kind of
yes, and look, I'll let you play a little
hacking the human mind, he says.
It really is. But see, what they want to do, and let's not go into that tangent, but let me get back to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Trudeau is the culmination or a matrix point of an overarching plan. The insult to me is that you think I can't see how you got to that plan, because this is what I do. I know how I can take it from here, turn it to make it look like this, subconsciously communicate it to you like this, and know the end result will be this. Now, there's good marketers, and then there's maleficent marketers or nefarious marketers, right? They coerce. It's one thing to say, let's use the color green with leaf symbols or whatever in some kind of a musical tone to remind people that they should take a break. You see what I mean? Like, so when I'm designing, I'm helping them design the interior design of their loft. I'm saying green in this area is a really good color for calm. It's a great place for you to relax, and yada, yada, yada. That's one kind of marketing or strategizing in design.
Yeah.
Another kind is, hey, this is what's being said. On its face, it's actually very righteous and noble. For us to achieve the goal that we want, what we should do is we should utilize these things as a cloak for the reason that I needed to buy. So I'll give you a case example. I had a client come in, and he had like a $25,000, $35,000 budget. I want to design a logo, a brand, and blah, blah, but all he kept saying was logo, logo, logo. I told him, let me ask you something. Can I see your product? And he showed me the product. And I'll be honest with you, and I mean, you've known me, Clyde. I'll tell you to your face what I think.
You do. You're brutally honest. I'm afraid.
and I said to him, you're basically giving me $35,000 for a piece of shit. And I'm sorry, like I could take your money, but it wouldn't be fair because I don't believe in any of it. And he said, well, what can't you make a nice logo? And then we had a coffee because he bought me a coffee. I said, all right, I don't want to say his name. I sat down. I said, here, think of it this way. I'll make you a really good looking logo, like a top-notch logo. Like it'll be up in the top, blah, blah, blah. And then the people will see your logo and the people will say, wow, that's a cool looking brand. And then they buy the thing of yours and they open it and they find out it's a piece of shit. I'm like, think for a second. What do you think is going to happen to your brand? You will come out of the gate making multiple sales, and then everybody will find out that your work is a piece of shit. And then after they figured out piece of shit, what do you think they're going to remember? They're going to do an association. they're going to associate something really good looking with a piece of shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, when that happens in the brain, anything you do at that point is disqualified. And this is what the Liberal Party is doing. Hallelujah. They're marketers.
Hallelujah. Suck. That's awesome. That's so great.
Because the marketers are like literally the Bud Light marketers. They're the same marketers.
Yeah.
They have absolutely no understanding that you can paint a pony all you want, but if it takes a shit in the middle of the yard or in the house, and it constantly does this, if it's broken, there's no amount of painting it that's going to fix it.
Yeah. Well, and you can gaslight people as long as you have them divided, but as soon as they start talking to each other, then that's when the gaslighting wears off. You know, you'll have even in a situation where it's like you got a husband that's abusive husband, he's gaslighting his wife. But as soon as that wife gets out, and this is why narcissists will always try to close off your relationships with other people. They'll as soon as you get out and you talk about what's been happening in the house, they'll be like, "Oh, he's fucking gaslighting you." Pardon my French now, but he's gaslighting you. Get out of there. He's a jerk. Like you don't want to be there. That's not true. And this is what's happening in Canada is people are. Every time Trudeau opens his mouth, he sticks his foot deeper into it. And people are like, and this party's behind him on this? They're still backing him after everybody's seen it?
Well, allow me to interject real quick. One of the things that I learned, remember I mentioned that I met that CEO for Coca-Cola?
Yeah.
So he took me out for a steak and explained something to me once. He said, there's two types of organizations that you should always remember, Vesper. And I was like, okay. He's like, there's the whale that holds a certain amount of mass. And then there's a large body of fish that seem to be at the same mass of the whale. We don't want to be a whale. Why? I asked. He says, because for the whale to turn and change direction, it takes a lot longer, whereas a school of fish occupying the same amount of mass can turn on a dime.
Yeah, it's true.
The liberal government, even the conservative government, like I'm a conservative, but even they are dinosaurs at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand you can't pivot everybody's ideology and philosophy without priming them. So there are values that conservatives have. The liberals have their own conservatives. Okay, they're satanic, but that's not the point. It's their views, right? That's the establishment is socialism, and that's always been what it is, you know. So from that regard, they have a brand and an agenda and a strategy for that kind of thinking. All these people are watching Trudeau do this. Trudeau can turn on a dime, clearly. But your brand can't. And that's what's now screwing them. You have a guy that's moving too fast for the brand.
Right.
Do you understand? This is what's happening with Polyev also. Polyev he is sharp as a knife, man. Super sharp. But the conservative brand does not turn quickly. The way they take risk assessment, the decisions they make, the way that they propagate their ideas, they don't move as fast as, let's say, you know, a small company.
Yeah.
So Polyev could say all these things.
It's ludicrous because, like, some of the stuff that they're doing. I mean, what we saw with O'Toole, he wouldn't even get on board with the Freedom Convoy that was rolling in, and he was ousted. That was it. People were not having that, and that, I guess that's a perfect example. They just weren't turning directions.
Well, this is what I would tell my fellow Canadians to understand. There are systems in place and there are actors within this system. Okay, board game, me and you on a board game, me and you are sharp. I've met you, I've talked to you, you're sharp. But imagine all the hurdles we have on this board that we created that literally what are they? It nerfs us. You play video games, it nerfs us. So here's Polyev, he wants to do something against Trudeau. All he could do is get up there and balk. And maybe people will listen and finally wake up. That's the problem. The problem is that if you're trying to be new but the subset of people that you have, they're still stuck in a certain way of thinking. It's not going to change like that. Branding and marketing yourself requires you to prime people. And I wanted to give you a minute to talk because I want to break down what these techniques are in marketing and strategy, or we'll cover whatever it is that you want to cover.
Yeah, no, I'm interested in this priming thing. So like, what are examples of priming that you can point to?
I put the notes up that I did when I gave a class on this at 99. So I'm going to read you the notes that I wrote them. Okay. So one of the ways that the subconscious advertising works is through what we call cognitive priming.
Okay.
Priming is a psychological concept that refers to the process of influencing a person's behavior by exposing them to certain stimuli. In the case of subconscious advertising, the stimuli are often visual cues such as colors, symbols, or images. These stimuli can trigger certain associations or emotions in the subconscious mind of the consumer, which can then influence their behavior. An example of this would be a billboard advertising a luxury car. It might use images of a sleek, shiny car and a well-dressed model standing by it. The use of these visual cues trigger associations with wealth, success, and a status and subconscious in the mind of the viewer, which can then influence their desire to purchase a car. So in a way, it's Pavlov, but it's like offensive. It's like proactive Pavlov. See, Pavlov had to do something, issue a reward or a penalty.
Yeah, for people who don't know the Pavlov's dog thing, I'll explain it really quick. So Pavlov's dog, it was an experiment that Pavlov ran, and every day he would ring a bell and the dog would come and there would be food in the dish. And the dog would come, just at first he would come, what's going on? And then there's food in the dish, and then he got used to this. And he was conditioned to the point when he heard a bell, his mouth started salivating and he'd run. And he would experiment, he would try it, and he would ring the bell and there would be no food, and it wasn't time to eat at all. And the dog would come in salivating, hungry, and would be upset because it wasn't food time. So this is the conditioning that you're talking about.
Right. Another way that we do this is what we call through emotional appeals. Okay. Emotional appeals. What does that mean? It plays on a powerful role in decision making, and advertisers often use the emotional appeals to trigger certain feelings or associations in the minds of consumers. For example, a billboard advertising a soft drink might use bright, vibrant colors, images of happy, carefree people enjoying the drink. The use of these visual cues can trigger positive emotions like happiness and joy in the subconscious mind of the viewer, which can then influence their desire to purchase that product to get that emotional fix. So what we're doing is we're saying we're not just salesmen. We're coercive salesmen trying to tell you what to think. And we know on basic generalities, everyone's stressed, everyone wants time off, everybody wants new things. We know that human beings typically like to compete each other, whether it be clothes or sports or work. So we understand that human nature more, and we try to direct the mind of the person. And again, it becomes more complex, right? You have to know the demographic, what are the age groups that we're talking about, and so on and so forth. But priming and emotional appeals are important. Colors, repetition, symbolism, association, these are absolute musts that you must know. And I could give you something to give to everyone else after.
Is that like why fast food restaurants are always seem to be red and yellow? I don't know why. I always noticed that they're red and yellow.
No, like I'm sure there's people in your audience here that already understands what colors do, right? But it's a little more. I wanted to do a little game with you, if it's okay with you, to show you how. Okay, so there's this thing called the Stroop effect. Have you ever heard of it?
No, this is my first time hearing that.
Okay. To prove the power of association on you're going to do this with everybody watching. Okay. It's going to be fun. Okay. And they're going to learn something about how marketers manipulate how you think and where are those holes in the way you think.
Okay.
Okay. So to prove the power of association on your subconscious, you're going to play a little psychological game, and that will demonstrate the priming in marketing.
Okay.
So I'm going to send this to you on Discord.
Oh,
you could so you could put.
You want me to put it?
No, I'm going to send it to you. Yeah. But do you not want them to be a part of this?
Yeah, sure.
You know, if you want them a part of this, you got to get them a part of this. All right. So I just sent it to you. This image.
Oh, okay. It's just one image.
Yeah. And I'm going to read this to you, okay, before you play this game.
Okay. Oh, I think I've seen this before. I didn't know what it was called, but this is
yeah. This is the Stroop effect. Okay. So I'm going to read it out. Once you get it up there, I'll read it to everybody.
Okay, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
To play the game, all you need to do is read the following words and time, or take a mental note of how long it takes you to say or think quietly in your head the colors of the following words. But do not read the words themselves. All you're trying to do is say the color that the word is written in.
Oh no.
Cool.
I'm dyslexic, and this is going to be tricky for me. I think I'm going to have a lot of trouble with it.
It's okay,
because I get nailed with other visual cues. But
we'll do it for the audience. Let them see it.
Okay, well, they're going to see it with me and my reaction too up in here. I'm going to try this.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, I'm just to say the colors of each ones.
Only the colors.
Oh,
yeah, start
man.
at the top.
Okay, this is going to be nuts. Okay, blue, red, green, black. Is that like a beige color? The one that says sleep?
Yeah, beige.
Okay,
beige, yeah.
Purple, green, red, blue, beige.
Good. Now, let's see how you do at the bottom.
Okay, now I got to just say the colors, the same as before?
Oh, yeah, same colors. Yeah.
Okay, red, green, blue, black, red, blue, beige, purple, red. Yeah, okay, the cues are there, man. It makes me want to say the thing that it says.
Now, I hope the others, by the way, feel free to do this with them again. Let me just explain what's going on. Hopefully, you'll notice that it takes a lot more thought and time and effort to get to the second set of colors. This is because there's a stimuli, the word that your subconscious is actively fighting against. In other words, the priming is going against you.
Yeah. I paused there. So
making your life a lot more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the game objectively, there should be no reason that the second set are harder to read. After all, words are just a collection of letters. But the word blue makes you think blue, and that includes blue things too. And because I've just mentioned the word blue, your subconscious is already making associations. The sea, the sky, both the above. And if we follow that on further, priming you with blue and making your subconscious associations to sea and sky, I could probably even make you repetitively convince yourself to go on a vacation.
Oh,
like,
wow.
like try to understand now politics from this vantage point. You have somebody like Trudeau who does not fit what we would call noble. But he says noble things, apparently, right? Justice, inclusivity, equality. He says all these things, but it's being forced on you because when you look at him, like I know he looks like red, but he looks black, like it's black.
Well, maybe it's the black face. It's kicking.
Do you understand how he has coerced his followers?
Yeah.
His followers have no problem. They have been primed to think in a certain way. For you to convince them that that's not red, there's a bigger issue from behind that. It's not just, hey, like all of us, trying to tell all the liberals, hey, how could you vote for this guy? No, you don't understand. You can't just do that because it's not a color or a person. It's a thought process. And then to define what a liberal is at the core, that's what you're really fighting. You're not fighting the person in front of you. That's just the marketing. But the ideal that they're pitching behind that is this kind of self-righteous virtue signaling. And that if you're not caring for other people, if you're, we're all about caring for our fellow man. We're all about, making concessions, and we're not greedy capitalists. That's how they've marketed the idea of liberalism. And so you come to attack that, the opponent is seeing somebody trying to deface the brand. You could say the same thing about Nixon. As Nixon was like super honored, super respected, when Watergate came, it created a massive cognitive dissonance for a lot of his followers.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
he seemed very honorable and all those things. And then
amazing
Trudeau,
looking back though is like what he was accused of, and he stepped down because of it, and like what we're seeing today is just insane. It's absolutely insane that there hasn't been any resignations, and this is like Canada and the U.S. Like just the scandal after scandal that are way worse than Watergate.
Way well, worse. We had a conversation the other day. Hypnotists run into this kind of thing too.
Yeah, so I had a problem, right? So, and I'll get into that. Years ago, I was a heavy smoker, and I quit smoking since, and I've been quit for a while. But I used to be a heavy smoker, and at one point, I heard about quitting using hypnosis. So I lined myself up with a hypnotist, and I was like, I'm gonna give this a go because I heard people eat like onions on stage and eat them like an apple, right? And they think that they're eating an apple because the hypnotist suggests to them that that's what's going on. And I'm like, okay, well, I I'm a skeptical kind of guy, but I'll give it a go, and if it works, then it works, right? So I go and I went with 2 sessions. First was just to assess who I was and have him be able to make notes on me, like just personal wise. So I guess so he can get a better feel on how to do a session. So then I go for a session, and he tries and he tries and he tries and he tries, and I just couldn't. It wouldn't happen. Like that click moment or whatever it is to become hypnotized just never happened. And he was like, oh, well, sorry, but some people are just not suggestible. And that was the thing that really stuck out in my mind, is that some people are not suggestible. And that was really the crux of why I couldn't be hypnotized. And I thought maybe this is why I and a percentage of the population just never fell for the whole COVID junk as it was going along, and don't fall for the woke garbage, and don't fall for any of this other stuff that they're putting on us.
Well, here the thing that we're all really dealing with at this point is they're angry. Everyone should be sleeping. Why is everyone not sleeping? And then the people that aren't sleeping are saying, well, I mean, because
it's not nighttime.
Worldviews are right, but like you understand, like our worldviews are very different. There was a pastor once that got brought into this building. I told you this story, but I'll tell this to the audience.
Yeah,
he went into a postmodern museum. I don't know. Do you think your audience knows what I'm talking about when I say a postmodernist museum?
I like squiggle art. Like art that doesn't
like all the random
splashes like on a canvas and stupid stuff,
and like staircases that went nowhere, columns that were upside down, and it was a museum, and this guy was like marveling to the pastor, like, hey, what do you think of this? See, we don't need to make sense to make art and beauty. And the pastor looked at him and said literally the wisest thing that I could ever remember him saying. He says, did you do any postmodernism to the foundations of this building?
yeah. Oh,
no,
I forgot that part. That's hilarious.
Because you can't play with an absolute construct called a foundation. You can paint it pink, you can paint it blue, it's okay. But what you can't, you like even in vehicles. I mean, there's got to be some absolutes in vehicles, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like a piston. Give me an example of something that's an absolute in mechanics.
Well, you can't make anything but round tires. I mean,
yo,
it's pretty straightforward.
So think about it. Can you imagine someone says, I'm a very, bourgeois kind of a person, and I think those round tire people, those basket of deplorables, those fringe minorities, they don't understand the square tire. And then they meet you, and then you say, look, man, you can paint the car any color you want. Do whatever you want, but the tires can't be square.
Yeah, you gotta be round. You gotta have round tires. Sorry, they can be as wide or as narrow as you want, but yeah, they gotta be.
But do you see? So this is the problem. We're all facing this, and from a design marketing consulting perspective, people are missing that they're not fighting this one person. Look, I go after Trudeau and the juxtapositions of his takes to illustrate a very bigger point. I met Poilievre. I voted for Poilievre, but make no mistake, I have absolutely no problem making the same videos about Pierre. Okay, where I would show you saying one thing and then you doing another thing. Like, I'm not perfect. Listen, man, I know I said I'm a Christian. I'm not saying anyone's perfect. What I'm saying is at least have the decency when you're imperfect to come out and say it. But we got to ask ourselves, is the problem the people? Is the problem the messaging? Or is there something bigger, as we've been finding out lately through Andy Lee? Is there a puppet master at work here? And are we all fighting with like ghosts? That these figures are just really pawns on a table, but they're not moved by any sign or semblance of a strategy. Because, I mean, look, dude, they tore through the federal budget. He stands up there straight face telling people he cares about them. I pull out 20 videos off YouTube where he's saying the complete opposite of what he just said right now.
Yeah.
At this point, I remember saying to myself when I do these videos, I'm like, yo, this guy's trolling me. This is a troll.
Well, yeah, what's going on there? Like, that's the thing that really, is it intentional? Is it intentional just to upset people? Because he knows his base will raw or jeer or do whatever they do regardless. But he'll say these things almost to like aggravate people that know that this is absolutely untrue.
Have you ever heard of Gad Saad? He's from Montreal.
Yeah, he's amazing. I have one of his books here.
Okay, you should have Gad. And listen, Gad, if you ever hear this, man, I'm Lebanese. Big props to you, man. I love everything that you say. Gad, nobody has described him better than Gad. And the kind of person he is he was the kind of kid at school that talked all the time and thought he knew everything because he looked good. And people would put up with him because, you know, he was kind of nice. He wasn't like whatever. And all the girls liked him. And then all the boys just kind of put up with him, but he wouldn't really be in the clique. You understand? Like we were friends with him because we had to be friends with him, but he's awkward. And when he speaks, he's such an ideological person. Like he truly does live in his own world. My brother and I love Star Trek. We've gotten into arguments about Star Trek.
You really love Star Trek when you argue it.
Listen, let me tell you the kind of person, and I love my brother, but my brother has this belief that humanity will evolve to a place where we will be like Star Trek. We won't need money. Everybody will be at peace. Everyone will be like, he believes in this utopic mindset.
Yeah, I have a whole set of arguments against that. I mean, we're not getting into that in this conversation.
No, but I'm showing you Trudeau. I made some of his videos on climate. Like this man speaks about climate like the way I speak about like my wife when I wanted to marry her. Like this man is like passionate. Like we're gonna save the planet. The planet. And I'm listening to this guy and I'm like, do you believe that? Really? Is that what you believe? I don't think you believe it. I think there's something else here. Because then he said, remember, I made another video. I would never make a coalition. I'm completely against coalitions. And then he makes a coalition. Well, they don't call it a coalition.
It's the totally not a coalition getting together to happy fun time majority.
So this idea of their liberalism and this wokeness and this whatever, it's a destabilization, and you're trying to destroy a culture to build it on a foundation that is so shaky that it could be molded into what you want. The inverse of this is what happened to Bud Light. So if you guys could imagine what happened to Bud Light, take the opposite of that, and that's what the governments are trying to do.
I'm having a hard time seeing that. Okay, so explain it to me, because
I'll explain it.
Yeah,
I'll explain it.
My perception of what happened with Bud Light is
no.
Oh no,
we're talking that.
Oh, I was just gonna get into like my perception of what happened with the Mulvaney thing, as like they had this young marketing lady comes in, and you know, she's just out of academia, she's had a few jobs, she's, you know, fresh and excited to do this career, but she's completely enamored with this crappy education that she got from Harvard.
And she became VP.
Right? Magically becomes VP, and then makes these like terrible misdiagnosis of what was wrong with Bud Light at a time when it's like, well, they're in decline because of all these other factors, like weed became legal, you know, craft breweries became a thing. Another phenomenon that was pointed out to me by Wes Musio, the lawyer from British Columbia here. He mentioned, because he's living in Florida at the moment, and his sons were all, he was like, hey, you guys want to get some beers? And they're like, yeah, we don't drink that. Too many calories. So all these guys have been, the taboos lifted on girly drinks. So like dudes are drinking nudes and all these other like vodka soda type drinks, and not picking beer because it's got more calories. They're like, why do I take all these extra empty calories? They're going with this stuff. So yeah, it's going to kill their market share. And that's a gradual decline. But then she thought, we're gonna bring in the you know, the transgender. That's gonna make everything great. And that was a complete flop. But let me know. Tell me how am I wrong, look, or how was my assessment on that one?
Like all things, there are levels.
Okay.
Right. Let's entertain two possibilities. Somebody doesn't want this beer, it's in slight decline.
Yep.
Let's just trash it. Let's go for broke. And if it goes, you know what they didn't anticipate? That it would go to the other beers. They thought if we could maybe just trash just Bud Light, we could, you know, look good doing it. What they didn't anticipate is how the entirety of all the crowds went against not just Bud Light, but Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
Do you understand? That's something they didn't expect. They didn't expect that. And so what I meant before about what is the Liberal Party doing? What is the Democratic Party in America doing? It's the opposite of what's happening to Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch. The power of the people is usurping any strategy that Anheuser wants to do. You could put as many Clydesdales as you want in a video. You could put it, like, man, the CEO could get a Clydesdale tattoo on his forehead. Nobody, that's it. You have primed people in such a way that you have forgotten that for the last 40, 50 years, you've been telling men are men, be strong men, be funny men, be quirky men. And now you're telling them in like a split second, you're pivoting too fast.
Well, they didn't.
And you're going to tell them.
That's not the only pivot they did. Like in the past few years, they hired, what was his nuts? The comedian who used to be funny from Vancouver, but turned super woke. Seth Rogen.
Seth. Yeah,
Seth
I saw
Rogen
that. But
Schumer, Amy Schumer. Their ads were like, they were just like lectures on wokeism at the Super Bowl.
I know,
like what?
I know. Listen to me. I will prove to you that this does not just have to do with transgenderism.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. It has to do with their pivot away from the main,
right? Because if you would have put a Seth Rogen face on that can, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. You understand? It didn't matter. You could have had like certain people on that can, and we wouldn't like it. But the idea here is that we are going to do what we want, and you will buy our drink.
Mm.
And the people said, oh, yeah? Okay. And that's what happened. Now, when I say flip that, how would the inverse be? The people are saying, we need solutions. We need things to be done for us. And the way that Trudeau has justified it, and I wrote this in one of my posts. I don't know if you could see it. It was about the abuse. I'm looking it up real quick. It was all the signs of an abusive person. I don't know. Can you go to that post?
I'll have to find it. One sec.
Okay, I'm already there, but
you're already there.
Yeah. Okay. I wish I could share it on my screen, but it says, "This is how our PM sounds like in Ottawa." The other day, remember when he was in Ottawa, you giving his conversation or dissertation, I call it, his dissertation to Ottawa.
Yeah.
This is the definition of victim blaming. and this is exactly what it sounded like. It's not my fault you got hurt. You just misunderstood how much I cared for you. It's your fault that I had to hurt you and threaten you so that I could save you. So the people were literally being told that I'm here to be saving you. You hating me makes you the bad person because I'm trying to save you. And any means I take to save you is a good thing. You're the one with the problem.
Yeah.
Can you imagine why Anheuser-Busch cannot stand up right now and say, it's not our fault you guys aren't drinking the beer. It's because you're all bigots. Why didn't they come out and just say that? No, but you understand. The messaging to Trudeau now is like I saw, was it yesterday, where he's calling Poilievre because Poilievre says you're too woke. You need to wake up. Like, this guy is decimating his brand. He doesn't understand. His brand is not just millennials and Gen Zs. There is a large old school liberal class here. I mean, dude, in America, Bill Maher, I hated his guts. He was entertaining, but I hated his guts.
Mm-hmm.
But Bill Maher is now turning on those people. It's like, I used to be liberal. I don't know what you guys are now. So
because they're
Trudeau
not liberal, and I really wanted to push back on this, not to you, but I wanted to push back on this online, because like, what is a liberal? Like a classical liberal, and from my understanding, is like Thomas Jefferson, Thomas Paine. These guys are the liberals. Washington, Benjamin Franklin. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to put together all the tenets of liberalism and then compare it to what the Liberal Party is and what their platform is. Because the tenets of liberalism is, you know, well, for one, property rights, self-preservation, being able to protect yourself and defend yourself. So you know, bearing arms and all of this stuff is a liberal principle. Free speech, they're totally against that now. The freedom of association, which they totally rail against people for. You know, that's a big thing that liberals do right now is they'll say, oh, well, look at this guy I don't like, and look at the people he's been associating with.
But hold on. Let me ask you a question, and I'm sure everybody here is going to resonate with this. From a marketing standpoint, let's say this is my agenda and your agenda to usurp total control and ignominy, okay, over all populations.
Yeah.
The real question I should ask you is, why would anyone believe me and follow me? What is incentivizing them to back this?
Well,
so
it's a multifaceted answer for that.
Right. So an easy answer is not going to fix this by saying, "Oh, F Trudeau." This is not what fixes it.
Yeah.
There has been a priming for the past 10 years, maybe longer. Right? I might even say it's been starting since Harper. Right? You can leverage the things Harper didn't. Hey, Harper opened China more than anyone is willing to give credit for. Right? He gave them certain contracts and so on to have access to Canada and so on. Like, no one talks about this.
I've publicly mentioned it, and I've publicly talked about my opposition to it.
Which is why we're friends, because at least you report on it. Most people don't know that it's not just Trudeau. Trudeau and his band of merry misfits, they have their plan, and their plan is strategically based. Where they're getting stuck now is like, okay, our plans are being drawn in crayon. We need to start upping our game and doing our work a little bit more like intelligently. Like, for example, maybe we should remember what we said. Maybe we should take those videos off of YouTube of the things that we have said. Maybe we should go to these places and say, please don't publish. Oh, wait a minute. How about we solve all that and just put out a censorship bill for media? They're getting caught.
It's almost the inevitability, though, when you start going down this road of authoritarianism, right? If you want to be an authority over people instead of being a member of society and leading, and you get this all the time. Like you can see this in like parental situations where people, you know, you try to lead by example to your own kids and teach them the right way, but then at a point, a lot of people will give up the leading by example and just say, whatever, just do what I say. As a kid, questions what you're doing, and it's like, no, you can't, because you need to keep your room in order. And I sound like Peterson right
Jordan
now.
Peterson.
Clean your room.
Yeah.
You do though. You have to have your stuff in order before you can start preaching at other people that they have to do it a certain way.
I mean, dude, he was in Ottawa telling people, listen, let's just this point is like the quintessential crystallization of everything that is wrong with liberal Trudeau's government. While creating incentives, I force nobody to take it. If you said to me, Vesper, take a time out of this world in this guy's government and encapsulate it into one moment that would define him and his government and his ideology, it would be in that one statement. In fact, I made a comedy video about it. I think you saw it, the one where there's a timer. I wanted to time and see how long it would take him, like a dodo, to contradict himself. It literally took him 48 seconds. And
That's a good one, yeah.
Right. So if anyone wants to go to my Twitter page, you'll see the thing. I literally ran a clock. Like, he said all these really philosophical things, and then like right at the end, he said the complete opposite of everything he said. That was fascinating. And then you say, I didn't make anyone do this. How do you define make? And what kind of a messaging approach?
We gave him all the right incentives. That drove me nuts, man. I made 2 videos over it because I was so upset about it.
But see, someone's writing this for him, and someone's telling him this is how you are to phrase it. These are soft words. I don't know if you know that they do that in the back end. We have things called soft words. In messaging, there's soft words, transitory words, and hard words, and then there's pivot words. I don't know if you see sometimes Biden, he's holding that piece of paper that he always gets caught holding. There's notes on it.
Yeah. So he was holding it the other way, and somebody saw all the notes.
Yeah. It'll say like pivot on this.
He read it out loud
hard
once.
On this.
Like, he read the instructions out loud once. I can't remember what it was. Yeah. But it was really funny.
I couldn't take any more, and I'll stop at this point. I'm sure you have other things you'd like to say, but I will stop by saying my disdain for Trudeau is that he represents everything that is horrible in mankind. Humanity in and of itself is already plagued with a sense of self-righteousness, a self-virtue. It kicks people down to lift itself up. It's the sin that the fallen nature of mankind. Like, I mean, I always tell this to some friends when we do our Bible study. I say, it's so funny. It only took 2 generations for a brother to murder his brother. So right after Adam, it was Cain and Abel, and Cain kills Abel. Like, murder entered immediately into our thing. If you believe that, I believe that. Mm-hmm. So when I see a guy like Trudeau stand up there, my wife was watching Gladiator the other day, and she said we were looking at Commodus. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah, with Gladiator with Joaquin. Joaquin Phoenix was the Caesar.
Stop for a second and tell me that is not exactly who Trudeau is. He is pompous.
Yeah,
he received the legacy of Marcus Aurelius, his father, the great Caesar. He's always wanted it, and now that he has it, he's abusing it. And the power has gotten to his head, and he's now making big mistakes. And the last mistake was to invite Maximus into the ring with him, and Maximus took him out. And I think his own hubris is what will take Trudeau out.
That's the story of Narses, right? The demigod that was so enthralled with his own reflection that he was looking down at his reflection in the placid lake on the edge of a pier, and he was so enthralled with it that he fell off and he drowned.
And you know what the irony in all this is? They can play cover all they want. When you understand in consulting meetings, in marketing meetings, that at some point you are going to run into a ruse, we call it a ruse, where there is no way out of this. You've painted yourself into this corner. You're going to have to either hide or you're going to have to come out and confess. And I think what's going to happen is Trudeau's going to do none of those. I mean, hiding he does. He's a good hider, but I'm saying he's going to have to at some point address some of these things. And what I've been noticing is not even because of the Conservatives, but just the level of data that is being leaked out.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he had an inkling of intelligence, he would have resigned.
Yeah.
But what I think is happening is he's doubling down precisely because of his woke immaturity. Either it's none of those things, and he's just being puppeted.
Yeah, my thought was that there's an agenda, and that the people who are in place right now, they without being in place, like after their time is up, they're so done that there's going to be a cleaning of house, and those people, the infiltration of the cabinets is going to get cleaned out, or the Liberal brand will be completely dead because of the infiltration.
Yeah, because they don't care. They don't care about the brand.
But
you think they care about the brand?
But that's the thing. So they're just trying to get away with as much as they can. Like I said, watch until 2023. They're going to hang on to this. And Jimmy McJuggernuggets, Jagmeet Singh, he's a World Economic Forum member as well. I mean, he's on there too, as a young global leader, just with Trudeau. And if they can hang on to a majority as a totally not a majority, happy fun times coalition, not a coalition party time, they'll do that until 2025, and they'll ram as much through as possible. Just like I said earlier in the stream, Marco Mendicino even saying we put provisions in the bill to make it even harder when the next administration comes in, so they can't remove it, in anticipation to not being in government anymore. They know that their time is over, and their time is limited.
But I'm saying this to all the Canadians that are listening to me today. Look, can we talk about Twitter a little bit and less about the government, just so that I can explain some things about my experience so far?
Yeah, for sure. For sure, because I want to, like, I don't want to go too long on this chat, because we're already over on the stream. So
no.
I want to cover Twitter, and I want to cover like where you're going with that, and then wrap things.
Sure. So how about this? You lead on this. You lead on. What do you want to cover first?
Well, I want to talk about your Twitter account, how far you've been going with taking your skill. Like you have tremendous skill. Like you're not some.
Thank you.
Like I'm an amateur when it comes to this stuff, and it's amazing that I've made these accomplishments. Right? I'm a professional mechanic. I'm not taking my wrench pulling skills to this fight. I'm developing new skills, and I'm bringing this to the table. You have developed skills. You've honed them. You're a master of your craft, and you're coming to the table with this. I mean, you're a tremendous asset for all of us. Absolutely. But what drives you? There's a goal, obviously, and you've stated that as soon as you've reached your goal, you're done. So like, how does that all play?
So I decided to say, I remember I started seeing the propaganda that were being pitched at everybody at the Freedom Convoy through CBC, CTV, Global News. And I was like, everything looks so ghetto. All the memes look so ghetto. Nobody's doing anything that kind of gives that kind of quality, that like memorability, right? Mm-hmm. And so initially I joined a bunch of really cool people to help do these things. The messaging was, I'm like, okay, we need to up our game in terms of offense. And when I saw them do what they did, I was like, oh yeah, all right. I finished recently a really big project, so I could afford like a month of my time just doing nothing but Twitter. And you and I talked about how absolutely insane I went in that first month.
Dude,
I didn't even realize.
I was like, dude, you're gonna get yourself blocked by everybody. You're annoying. You're spamming, and I didn't know how much you were posting. How much were you actually posting?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell this to everybody, and please don't hate me. I said I don't care if you block me. I don't care if you mute me. I don't care if I get suspended. I don't care if you follow me. All I want you to do is to notice what I'm making and look at how absurd it is, what I'm showing you, and just share it. Okay? I don't need to be famous. I don't need no followers.
Or even
and I'm still like
copy
that.
paste and make it your
I was
own,
giving,
whatever.
dude, one of my logo, like, let's give you an example. In animation of 10 to 30 seconds, I charge usually $15,000. A logo is $7,500 to sometimes $20,000.
Wow.
Okay. I'm creating all this and I'm saying, just use it. I don't need it. Just take it and like throw it everywhere. I don't care. You know, the guy thinks he's well equipped. I could generate 50 graphics an hour. I mean, you know how fast I work. I've showed you how fast I can work.
You've worked very fast.
And in a surreal way. And so I was creating these, and now I'm in a bit of a love and hate relationship with Twitter right now, not because of the people, but because ever since Elon Musk came in, he was like, there's no more censorship. Well, I can't tell you how many times I've been banned or shadow banned or throttled. And, you know, I've had some negative experiences with some people, not directly, but I've noticed that there's a lot of people on Twitter that are just wanting to grow their name. And I mean, I understand that. I don't want to knock them, but I'm not there for that. Like, I don't need a name. I need this guy and the whole world to see clearly the absurdity. And I'm sure he's watched some of my videos, and that comforts me, by the way, that he has, because he needs to know that we don't just know you, we know you very well. Okay. And that how much of a fraud you really are. And you know yourself, it's starting to wear down on his face, man. You saw him at the convention. He didn't look healthy.
I think evil just does that to people. Look at Yakinda Arden or whatever her name is from
Yakinda Arden.
Holy cow, she used to be a beautiful young lady, and then she turned into that thing.
Yeah,
like
so
she's looking like Gollum. Like that evil does stuff to you, to your body. It's crazy.
So to explain to everybody in the chat what was happening is, I would go initially to like the people like Clyde and a person like this guy or that guy, and like they wouldn't even respond. And I'm giving them like top quality stuff, and I'm not even asking them for money. I'm like, just take it, use it. I'm giving you bullets, like ammunition for your marketing and advertising. Put it out there. And maybe nobody took me seriously, which was fine. And then I said, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically go Rambo. And that's what I did. I went Rambo. Are you ready? So February to March, I posted and retweeted 55,000 times.
Holy cow. Oh, that's insane, dude. I maybe tweet like 4 or 5 times a day, and that's on a good day. That's crazy.
The idea that I have not been banned is I don't know, maybe God was like blocking everybody. 55,000 got me 3.6 million in engagement, and it even got on Jimmy Dore. And I don't know if you guys know Jimmy Dore. Please check him out. Like, the entire team, Jimmy Dore, amazing. Big shout out to Jimmy. Big shout out to Kurt Metzger and all of them. Even Ed Mate, who's from Montreal, believe it or not, and Aaron Mate is amazing. So
yeah, I've always said that. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that Jimmy Dore says ideologically, but like we're in this fight together, kind of thing. You know, he's fighting the same monsters as we are.
So I started doing this all by myself, saying, you know what, like, all right, ain't nobody gonna help me. I'll help me. And a lot of people blocked me. A lot of people muted me. That's fine. I didn't care. I needed to say what I needed to say, and I had to bull rush my way to it. And God is my witness, man. There's no evil in my heart, but I'm done listening to somebody. Like, I'm okay with you lying to me, but at least be good at it. I'm okay with you stealing from me. No, seriously. If you're going to pickpocket me, like, be like stylish about it, man. Like, be good at it. Don't fumble and act like me. Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't want to know you're doing these things. I'm okay with that. Heck, I might say, like, dude, you deserve that wallet. Take it. You did that. Perfect. But the guy that's up there, I feel like it's like my little sister standing up there trying to pontificate and teach me. And I'm like, God, you're stupid.
Yeah,
like, you really are stupid.
The illusion's
it's
cracked. It's cracked, and he's not even good at the delivery anymore. And that's what I was saying earlier. I'm like, it's almost intentional. Like it's designed to get people angry. Like it's.
Yes, he's triggering people. He is triggering. Remember that time he walked? Was it in Brampton? Was it in Brampton where he just walked outdoors in the middle of the night? And he was like,
yeah, I can't remember where.
Hamilton. No, it was Hamilton. It was Hamilton.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was in Hamilton.
This guy is a psycho. You are walking in the middle of the night in Hamilton, and like literally that scene, all it needed was like torches and pitchforks. That's all that was missing from that scene. And this guy's walking with one hand and smiling and waving at people that are not there.
Yes.
And I'm asking myself, this man is like, do something. Please do something to me.
Yeah, that's what he wants. He wants an emergency. He wants to be a victim so he can cry victim.
And you know, man, this guy, I say this, it breaks my heart to say this, but like I worry now for his family. Like, you guys had a good name. You had a decent name. And like, how are you gonna go anywhere without being yelled at or screamed at anymore? Like, why not make amends and come out and say very openly, you know what? I screwed up. I swear to God, even today, if Trudeau came out today and said to everybody, can I confess to all of you, I screwed up. I screwed up big. I shouldn't have been such an ideologue. And I did a lot of things to a lot of people that I should maybe not have done, but I really believed hard in my beliefs. But see, all this is just dreaming. But if he did that,
because that's what a decent person would do, my friend. Like that's the reality of it. We're not talking about a decent person.
Well, that's it. And look, I'm living in an alternate reality when I say that. Even some people would let it go, but it's the measure of penance that you show, and he has no penance. He's impenitent. Completely. And so that just galvanizes people more. And then he gaslights people like on the stage. Hey, Pierre, woke, you need to wake up. What the hell, dude? Like, seriously, who's writing this for you? I'm so happy you have bad writers. I'm so happy your marketing team, you know. So from Twitter's side, I have like maybe one critique. And I just wish we were more consolidated in our messaging. Those of us that are trying to bring light to things, but it seems that everyone has their agenda. And because everyone has their agenda, this lack of unity, we need to, and I said this once to you, I think we need to form Voltron.
Yeah.
A lot of the big hitters on Twitter. Okay, some people are spouting trans issues. Some people are spouting Trudeau issues. That would be me. Some people are spouting WEF issues. We need to all get together and go after the culture, because the way I feel like we're doing it now, it's maybe even part of their plan. Keep them separated, and as long as they're not united, we don't have a problem.
Well, this is why I think that they conflate the trans issue with the drag queens issue. Because I think they want the confusion there. They brought these issues in both at the same time, and they're actually completely different issues. Like, having drag queens around kids is inappropriate, and that's one issue. But people conflate that with the issue of trans people wanting to use bathrooms, and they're different issues. Trans people are not drag queens, and drag queens are not trans people. They're different issues.
Well, look, Twitter right now, I find it's a mixture of people's maybe ego to get known. And a part of it is like, no, they're legitimately trying to help. But it just feels like everyone is like throwing sticky bombs at a wall. You know what I mean? Like, we're all throwing paint at the wall. And I think we need to start becoming more and more logical and approaching the opposite side and see if we can undo the damage that had been done in the minds of these people that were primed. Essentially, we need to unprime those that were primed. And it's not like facts and stuff, because I know we would all agree, like, oh, liberals don't listen to facts. No, they actually do. They actually do. And the problem is it's the emotional intonation that we take with them when we come off like, I've noticed when I come off sarcastic, or, you know, I talk down to them, I find, or I mock them. I'm really good at mocking, and I need to
Yeah,
get better at that. But I am going to say that I've noticed that I've met a few liberals throughout like Twitter that were initially like defense mode, and then when I just talked very civil, like sincere, I would start with like sincere question, whoever this person was, what is it about what I'm showing you that's making you feel like it's wrong? And then she would say, well, Pierre Poilievre isn't perfect, and I would say I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Says, well, why don't you make it?
Whataboutisms is like Twitter's, big thing.
Right. But then I say, no, you're right. And I'm like, and I could make a video. But right now, I feel like Pierre is the lesser of the two evils. See, and really, that's what Canada is right now. There is no good answer.
There is no
good answer. Because in order for you to even enter into politics, you have to sell a piece of your soul. You just do.
Yeah.
Like, you have all these people that are funny. And I loved what you said at the beginning of this when you were talking about the funding that the CPC has been getting. You're so right, Clyde. People think these are all just $200. No. There are companies. There are companies now. You know how I know that? I work with them.
Well, they've seen the shift. They've seen the shift, and they know that the public perception of where we're going to go in politics and all of that at this point now is going towards. It's going towards that the Conservatives are going to win the next election, and that's the thing.
Agreed.
Why give the Liberals any more money, except unless they need some money for a pet project in the meantime, until they've the next election happens, they're going to give them the minimal amount, and they're going to start throwing their money into the Conservatives because that's investing in the future and in their perspectives. And you guys say, like, watch out, because seeing that the Conservatives are getting all this money is good in one set, that okay, well, they'll have the tools that they need to fight against the Liberals, but that means that there's going to be so many of them that are going to be beholden to these new guys who are the old guys that the Liberals were beholden to, and this is and the cycle continues, right? And that's
if
really where we're at.
If Poilievre keeps every promise he touted, I'm saying it live in front of all of you, I'm gonna get a Poilievre tattoo right across my arm. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't believe he will. Yeah, that's fair.
No,
of course
none
not.
of them do.
None of them do.
And the reason you know what happened? This happened once with a company merger that was out in Boston that I went to. You will never believe what happened. So one guy bought a part of a company. The partner bought another company, Clyde. You know what they didn't realize while they were buying it? They were becoming competitors.
Oh, no.
The problem now is we're in this company together. I bought this venture. I bought this venture. Well, who's going to get the money now? I have to compete against you.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So what's happening is, in some way, Pierre is going to accept money from this organization or to back him. But then their interests will not align with this interest.
Yeah.
How's he going to be able to do? What happens to them is they start like this, and then their arms get like this.
Yeah, but that's politics, right? And it's really our job, as people that are being vocal and being out there in media and have a voice and are able to talk to people as people are getting more and more interested in politics and stuff, to be sowing the seeds of our job when the Conservatives get elected is to hold them in line and hold them to the things that they've promised, and it's going to be a fight. It really will be. They're not our friends. We want to get them in because they're less crappy, but then it's like, well, we got to be fighting with them.
And I'm telling everybody now again, and I've said it before on my Twitter, and you know it. My job is to make Justin Trudeau and anyone that he is associated to look like a complete clown.
Yeah.
And because he is a clown. The second he resigns or he steps down, like literally, everything could be on fire. I don't care. Once he steps down, my Twitter is shut down completely. I'm going to delete my account. I'm going to go dark and go back to my life, because right now the stuff that I've had to endure at the hands of this silly nitwit that he calls himself a prime minister. Like I could imagine having a conversation with him and just remember that conversation he had with that kid about women's rights and everything. Did you notice how he kept cutting him off every time he would try to say the first thing I would have said, whoa, cowboy, why don't you just stop cutting me off? Maybe that we could have a real conversation. I'm going to say something.
It's not going to happen.
I'm going to say something. And if you can't listen, and he's going to, okay, I'm listening. No, okay, really listening, right? Yeah. Okay. That's how we talk. You don't talk over me and push me and create arguments with me to frame your point. This is where two minds meet.
Did you see my video talking about that one?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because the main point that I brought up was like, okay, so they're rehashing all old arguments from the 1990s about the abortion debate. Like they've got nothing. They're dying. The brand is falling through the floor. They've got no support from anybody. Everybody's just looking at this Chinese allegations and interference stuff, and they're like, abortion. You know, it's not even something that's being discussed as being anything in Parliament. The last time it was brought up, it was a Liberal that wanted to make it illegal in Canada back in I think 2007 or something.
Do you remember when we talked at the beginning of this conversation about priming?
Yes.
The priming has turned backwards now. I'll refer back to Bud Light. Bud Light took a hit with Dylan Mulvaney. What they didn't account for is how the tentacles of this beer revolution, would go to the mothership, to Anheuser-Busch.
Yeah.
Trudeau doesn't seem to understand. Nothing good he does now is going to be good.
No.
And dude, listen to me. Regular Canadians in a week managed to donate $20 million. I will repeat, regular Canadians in a week, these elites underestimate the regular person.
Mm-hmm.
They do not understand the demographics of Canada. All they're doing is they're trying to bulldoze their way in. But you're going to be hitting a lot of thermite at some point. You're going to hit some steel and iron, and your rotor is just not going to turn anymore. Mm-hmm. So you burrowed as much as you could, but now you're coming to the people, and these people, how long do you think you're going to keep pushing this? You know, so I really do hope. I don't believe in violence. I do believe in debate, but I do hope that people on the left, sooner than later, I don't want you to abandon, if you're listening, if any liberal is listening to me, do not abandon your principles of liberalism. That's fine. But make a differentiation between when somebody is usurping that philosophy for something else.
Yeah.
Right? Conservatives do this all the time. They'll tell you all about, being fiscally conservative and taxes and cut. But really, all this is so that they can make deals on the side. So I just want to say that. And if you want to keep seeing some of the stuff that I post on Twitter, you'll see it. You'll probably block me.
It's making the rounds. It's definitely making the rounds. If you follow me on Twitter, people are out there watching this. If you're following me on Twitter, I share it a bunch. There's always really good videos mashed together, supercuts, a bunch of original graphics and stuff that you're able to just grab. Just grab it, copy, paste it as your own. Who cares? The whole point is just to get the message out there. And this is what I keep telling people. People like, well, why do you stay on YouTube? Why don't you go to Rumble where they've got free speech? You got to trip over your words, because this is where I can get the most reach. I can actually get to more new people. Like I could go to Rumble where there's there's a lot of people that want to hear this message, and that's fine. But I want to try to reach new people, and YouTube's algorithm is definitely one way to get to that. So I'm gonna stay where the people are. It's not that I'm not on Rumble. My videos are all on Rumble. You can watch them there if you want. But
you're doing the right thing, man. That's exactly what I would do. And look, speaking from somebody that's in strategy and marketing, you're right. This is the whole point. Maximal view. Yes, there's a bunch of problems with Google and the way that they believe in their ideological blah, but that doesn't matter. The whole purpose is visibility. If I can ask a favor from everybody, listen to me. All I want is to create things. If you believe what I said today about what my goal is to expose. It's to expose. It's to expose. I don't need donations. I don't need money. I don't need you to do anything for me other than for your own sakes and for my sake and my family's sake and your family's sake. Use this content, retweet it. Yes, we're not going to beat him on just Twitter, but we could shift the tide of sentiment. Because I've noticed a lot of people, listen to me, man, I've noticed some people that were on the other side who watching one or two of these videos that I did, they said I'm a lefty, but I can't deny that this looks bad.
Yeah, right. But you don't have to just share it on Twitter. Be on Twitter. Follow your Twitter account. And for people who are on Facebook or they're on Truth Social or any of these platforms that are out there, you've got time for Twitter, and that's about it. You got other stuff to do. They can take your stuff and just go everywhere with it. That's the thing. Listen, post it as your own.
Can I say one last thing before we end the
go for it.
Channel and it's a Christian metaphor from the scriptures.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that in the Bible Satan often tries to do is to inject doubt into our belief in not just God but in ourselves. You know, the Lord's Prayer is one of the parts that is in the Lord's Prayer is keep us from the evil one, you know, keep us from temptation and so on. I've noticed that the way that we're to come at our, let's call them our opponents, political opponents, is that we are to create doubt in what they believe.
Mm.
We can't clash like water against the stone. Nothing will happen. You literally have to position things to people in such a way that you would need to turn them against themselves. This is a marketer talking to you, by the way. Okay, so listen to me. You need to find a way that it's not immediately offending them. What you're doing is you are making them stop and say, can I refute this? Even if they talk back at you or chew you out, it doesn't matter. They didn't give you an argument, but you could tell there's a pause there, right? Just having the upper hand here is not how you're going to turn people. If the guy's like a dyed-in-the-wood liberal, and then you post one of the videos that I made where Trudeau was like, I never got Chinese information. And like 2 seconds later, I always said that I got Chinese information.
Holy cow.
Do you know how many liberals are seeing this guys use the videos, share them everywhere, because the machine that you guys are fighting is well funded and well oiled. They're just stupid people behind the wheel. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. And this grassroots thing that happened with Anheuser-Busch should tell all of you that the power is always with the people.
Yeah, the power is with the people.
You guys are getting top-notch graphics, top-notch animations,
just get
memes, GIFs. Take it, use it.
That's the best part is like I've seen campaigns. I've seen campaigns where they encourage you to. Oh, sorry. I've seen campaigns where they encourage you to use stuff, but it'll always be like low tier. Like the stuff you're making is top notch. So it's
and they'll tell you, oh, mention us, or no, you don't have to mention me. You
steal
it. It's like you don't even have to say that. Just steal it. Do whatever you want with it. You know, and that's my desire. The day he steps down, I mean, Clyde, we're gonna be friends, but you won't be seeing me on Twitter no more. And if you do,
fair. It won't be doing this stuff.
I wish there was a way to block your followers. Like I wish there was a way to block being followed. But apparently, like that's what helps them.
There is.
How?
I'm the guy teaching you all the backdoor stuff on Twitter. Okay, so if you wanna stop somebody from following you, you block them and then unblock them. So they're no longer blocked, but it unfollows them from you.
Okay, yeah, but that's gonna offend a whole lot of people here, man. Wait, why'd you block me?
No, they'll never know they were blocked because you do it just instantaneous. You just block and then unblock, and then it unfollows.
Well, okay,
it breaks the followership.
The point is, guys, if you see like 3,000 something followers, no disrespect to any of you, I really don't care. I just care that you see the tweets and that you take the media, the graphics, the animations, the comedy videos, everything, take them, spread them everywhere. I don't even put Vesper on my videos. I don't put Vesper on my graphics. Just use them.
Yeah, no watermarks.
Just
that's it. Go for it.
Use them.
Awesome.
That's it, man.
So Vesper, thanks for joining me. I'm stoked you came on and said your piece here.
I had fun.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure that this is accessible to more people, not just on the live stream. So we'll post this up on the channel as a separate video so people can check it out, get inspiration, and go do stuff on their own, and hopefully that's what they do. But anyway, thanks again, and of course always links are in the description. Go check it out, and we'll see that in the next time, and we'll have you on again if you ever want to come back, or before you drop this whole thing entirely. But yeah, we'll definitely have you on.
Hey, listen, man, honestly, it's a privilege. Clyde, you are a gentleman, and you have been like the only person that has not tried to grift me at all. And I want to tell this to everybody. There's so many grifters out there that want stuff constantly. Clyde has been a friend throughout this whole time, and he's offered me hope at these times where I was going through this hard. So I want to big you up as a person, not just as a YouTube celebrity, as a person. I'm very glad that we met, and I hope that together we could do a lot of good things. So,
wow, that's really nice of you to say, man. Thank you so much.
All right, brother.
All right, well,
all right. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get naked. I'll meet you in the bed.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm gonna end this stream, and then I'm gonna probably hang out with people in the Discord. So we'll see you. We'll see you next time you're on. Cheers, brother.
Awesome. All the best, guys. Take care.
All right. That was awesome. Holy cow. What a what a way to end it too, obviously. But hey, sorry we didn't get too much onto the chat while we were discussing all of that, but it was just it's insane. When you have these discussions, it's hard to keep up with the chat, but just so you know, I did see the chat go rolling through there. And we saw there was some super chats as well. We had Unacceptable Fringe, Derek, thank you so much for the $10 super chat, saying, look at that play button. I want to touch it. Just the tip. I hear that's the line when it comes to Clyde. Congrats, my friend. Thank you so much. Really stoked about that. Spawny420 with the 420 super chat, obviously. Can I just get, can't we all just get a bong? Of course. And I always mispronounce this one because I'm so horrible about it. Phoenix Zen. Am I saying that right? I got it right before, but thank you so much with the $55 super chat, saying thank you, amazing stream. It's yeah, it has been an amazing stream. Thank you so much for the support for the channel. Really appreciate it. And right here, we got Winiska with the $11 super sticker. Well, appreciate that so much. Thank you so much. And went a little bit longer than usual for a Friday night stream. We're at the just over the 3 hour mark. But every good thing's got to come to an end, I guess, eventually. Had a lot of fun with this one. We're going to be coming in and saying some hellos to everybody in the Discord for a bit. If anybody's over there, links are always in the description down below. If you're not part of the Discord community, now's the time. Hey, get on over there and come chat, come say hey. This is where we go over and have some wobbly pops and hang out. It's a good time for a Friday evening. I've been nursing this one, but I guess we'll go over and have a couple of more and talk about all the things that you heard tonight and many, many more. And well, if we miss out on that one, well, we'll definitely see you on Monday morning for the usual broadcast. And we'll see you then. As always, keep on trucking.